Hello, good evening everybody, and welcome to another Prism Break. This is Prism Break number 8, brought to you by Under Pressure. I am Squidoku, and with me is Maliv.
Hello, my name is Maliv, pronounced they, she, and I'm very excited about this game. I'm excited about this match. I'm just excited about Splatoon. So why don't we just kind of dive right in, because I think the players are raring to go, as well as we will be heading to zones in Hagelfish Markets.
Yeah,
Shellfire versus Kid Named Stringer.
Yep, we've got Shellfire here, which is an established team, and Kid Named Stringer, which is not exactly a pickup. It is 3 players from Non-Binary Fuss, as well as Hammy from Los Inklings, who is bringing his main of the Reflux here, and here we have him putting that ink on the zone at the moment. However, Shellfire is doing their best to put some ink of their own down, using the Tacticooler there from the pencil from Skippy, stopping Kid Named Stringer at around 90 points remaining here, getting that pick on Hammy as well, and taking the zone. Even though Kid Named Stringer were the first team to get the zone in control, Shellfire ended up winning that early fight and have the zone themselves now, and are looking to hold Kid Named Stringer back.
Indeed, but they aren't going to be able to hold on to it for very long, as Stringer manages to push immediately back in, forcing the opposing team or Shellfire to kind of back up very quickly. Lots of really quick aggression and just a really good counter-strike with their specials. As we're heading back into them catching up, actually setting up for a lead. And, oh, nice quick counter push.
Yeah, this zone is moving back and forth very quickly. As soon as each team is able to get towards it, as soon as they're putting ink on it, they're capturing the whole zone in one go. And now Shellfire, who have control of the zone, have just taken the lead, getting past that 63 remaining mark that Kid Named Stringer have set. But now Kid Named Stringer are pushing back towards the zone. Oh, Bleach trying to put pressure forward, but going down to that torpedo from the Dapple Doolies, the blue Dapple Doolies, the Dapple Doolies Nouveau on the side of Shellfire, who are sharking right here, trying to put down some pain, some pressure. There is that Reef Slider coming out from those Dapples, able to get away well, and getting the pick onto Hammy, looking for that super jump in, but getting taken out in a trade from Tesseract on the Edit Nouveau. And now we see Bleach getting that splat on Young Bob, but that does allow Kid Named Stringer to take control of the zone. They've still got some penalty points to work through before they can go for the lead, but it looks like they are trying to set up. However, that flank on the side might be stopping them very soon.
Indeed. I really like that Reef Slider managed to push them back just a little bit before Stringer was able to reclaim it. Just giving them that little bit more points, a little bit more control to be able to give more room for them to kind of push back and try to reclaim this ground once the opposing team has managed to get their pressure rolling once again.
Yeah, but even though Shellfire did take the zone for a little bit, Kid Named Stringer have gotten it back, and they have managed to retake the lead. It has gone back and forth quite a few times, but oh, there is 2 going down to that Zuka shot. It looks like we are interrupting the game footage for a second there, but coming right back at you. Nothing major missed, just Kid Named Stringer brought their points down to 34, but going 3 down there as Shellfire take the zone, and they will be looking to set up a hold of their own here.
Indeed, and they are holding it as well as they can, but they have to be on the watch out. The opposing team is quickly charging up their special. They do have a Zip Caster at the ready. I think they've already popped it and are trying to look for a couple of quick, Sharking? They're trying to get a couple of quick kills, but doesn't look like they were able to hold out on their own in this situation, and yeah, nope, Shellfire's managing to hold their ground, continuing to push forward with just 1 point lead.
Yeah, Shellfire did manage to get that lead into their favor by a single point, but they went 3 down for a moment. 2 down on the side of Kid Named Stringer, though. Tesseract here with the Crab will be looking to try and capture the zone, gets a splat onto board, but isn't able to put enough paint down. Maybe Hammy on that Reflux, hugely painting weapon, is able to get the zone, but there's still so much pressure coming out from Shellfire, especially with that Snipe Rider. That is going to be putting so much ink down, and Kid Named Stringer only have less than a minute left now, and even more penalty points on their side now that they have allowed Shellfire to take the zone for a moment. But Hakuna getting 2, it looks like, with help from Hammy and Bleach, who are now pushing the zone, looking to take control here. Less than 30 seconds. This is still very much a chance for Kid Named Stringer.
Stringer managing to get a very important splat there as well with Hammy with that nice reflux, preventing any kind of tempo from going for Shellfire. Gives them the chance to build that lead. 7 seconds left on the clock. They've just got to hold on to it to prevent any kind of comeback opportunity. Reef Slider doing a quick push, though.
Oh, wow. That is a huge push for Shellfire. That Reef Slider is exactly what they needed. Getting right into the depths of that zone. Getting, I think, 2 or 3 splats alone. And now Shellfire, they get a pick with the Zuka, taking out the edit. And this could be it. That's the lead for Shellfire, an overtime comeback.
Very impressive recovery there. Really nice Reef Slider, just quickly taking down 1 or 2 others, and then the rest of the team just doing a really good job of just picking off the rest of the members in the last few seconds and creating a very, very sudden and surprising wipeout, which really threw Kid Named Stringer out for a loop as they had to quickly scramble to come back and recover.
Yeah, that was absolutely crucial. I wonder if Kid Named Stringer, they just weren't ready for that last-ditch Reef Slider. They had players in the zone who were right in the target, because it's really exactly what the slider wants to do. It wants to just dive right into the zone, put down some paint, and try to get that paint on the zone. And if there happen to be opposing players on there, all the better for them. But really just being in the zone while that slider is coming in really hurt Kid Named Stringer, because it just kind of led to them losing their ground and giving Shellfire that overtime chance to make that comeback.
Indeed, that Reef Slider was a huge part of the team's pushes during that match, or that game. Managed to get the zone several times, and like most of the tempo swings were because of Reef Slider and just their team following through and just supporting it immediately after that big opening was made. That said, we do have another stage that we are rushing right into now. We've got Mako Mart with tower control.
Yeah, that we do. A different mode here coming out. Same comp coming out from Shellfire. And something slightly different, in fact. Bleach switching from the Stamper to the custom range blaster. Good choice for tower control, having that blaster AoE to really put the pressure around the tower, as well as that Kraken able to take the tower through the kinds of GG specials, such as the triple ink strike that the Slosher is bringing on the side of Shellfire. But oh, that is 3 down.
That's a wipeout.
Yeah, that is a full wipeout coming out from Shellfire.
30 seconds into the game, and we've already got a wipeout. We've got the Trizuka out, trying to pick out the support. Not going to be able to find anybody, but I mean, that also tells you that there's nobody there, which is also good information.
Yeah. Able to get the splat on Bleach, though, and now Kidname Stringer are in a really rough situation here. They have let the tower get past that first checkpoint, of course, being wiped out, but now they are going down one at a time here, and they aren't really using their specials to get back in, which is what they, I think, should do if they want to stop the tower. They might be just holding on, trying to stop the tower maybe when it reaches the second checkpoint, but I'm not sure what they will have, what tools they have at their disposal to really flush out the other team. They haven't had a numbers advantage. I don't think at any point in this game they haven't been able to get out the coolers from that end zap, and now Shellfire already have the tower to the second checkpoint at 36 points remaining.
Yeah, they've been taken out, like, consistently just being staggered out, making sure that none of them have enough time to even get their specials charged up before they're splatted yet again. Finally, we see a crap, but it's immediately sniped back down by another well-aimed Trizuka. And yeah, no, Shellfire's just been phenomenal with these really choice specials, really good pressure, and just locking down Kidname Stringer, preventing them from being able to get these opportunities to really counter push. We might be finally seeing that opportunity, though, as it's hard to say.
Yeah, for a moment there, finally, Kidname Stringer had a slight numbers advantage. They're bringing out that Crab Tank, trying to push back the Pencil, using those missiles as well to take a little bit more space and put down a little bit more paint in mid. Now the tower is back in the middle of the map, but Kidname Stringer have a lot of work to do if they are going to have a chance of coming back in this set. They need to get the tower all the way to the third checkpoint to 12 points remaining, but with Bleach going down there, that isn't going to bode very well for them. Hakuna dropping down onto the side, getting into a fight, and actually winning the fight against Young Bob, forcing the Pencil and Slosher to drop back just a little bit into a more stable position. Those Dapples also going down here as Kidname Stringer are trying to start another push back into mid, but with 2 going down for a moment on their side, it's not really looking good for them.
Indeed, it's really important to make sure that you have the advantage before you push, because it can be an advantageous position in the right circumstances, but more often than not, you're just a huge target if you go on the tower, and if the opposing team has that advantage, has that control, they can immediately just come in and snipe. But yeah, when the opposing team, when Kidname Stringer is wiped out again, Shellfire can just continue to push, and we get a knockout because of that.
Yeah, a very strong performance throughout from Shellfire. I don't even recall if Kidname Stringer were able to score any points at all. I wasn't really...
Not a single point was earned there.
Yeah, that's a total shutout there for Shellfire, putting on a great showing here in the first round of Prism Break tonight.
Indeed, and that is going to be them advancing further in the bracket. Just, yeah, absolutely phenomenal play. You can kind of see here in the replay that, like, they're, like, Kidname Stringer is trying to press, maybe extending a little too much, and very quickly just getting hyper-aggressive out of these situations. This Kraken managed to catch the landing, but as soon as that happened, immediately dropped its guard, lost its invulnerability, and was immediately splatted. Just absolutely phenomenal plays from Shellfire. You told me that Shellfire is like one of the better teams, right?
They're an established team. They're around a they're around a low ink level team, Div 5 level. They're a team that has been contending to win low ink in the past. But so is the the core of Kid Named Stringer on, well, I should say that Kid Named Stringer, their core is mainly in the team Non-Binary Fuss, and that's a team that Tesseract, Bleach, and Hakuna are from, which we didn't see Opal, and I would guess that they brought in Hammy as a sub if Opal isn't available until later in the evening. But they are a team that has recently been rising through the ranks of Low Inc. and made their first Alpha Bracket appearance in a recent edition of Low Inc.
Indeed. I mean, the games were looking like they were working out pretty well for them, but just Shellfire just had a very strong comp, really good team synergy and build, and just were definitely more on top of their special usage during both of those games. You saw very often, very frequently, that just all 4 of their units that were on the field just consistently building up their specials and pumping them out. What's an important strategy that you usually like? How do you manage to do that so consistently in a game as frantic and dangerous as Splatoon 3?
I think it's really all about the coordination of it. You can get your specials. You can leave some turf in your base to paint it when you respawn. In most modes, the team that is coming back from a situation like that is the one that has the advantage with passive special charge and is able to get more specials. Tower control is an exception to that, as the team controlling the tower is the one that gets more passive special charge. And we really saw that in that second game. I'd be curious to see how many specials each of those two teams got, because it looked to me like Shellfire was using theirs a lot more than Kid Named Stringer were, as well as just having more than one special at a time to use. Because I did notice in the first game that there were often times where Shellfire were chaining their specials together, like using a Trizuka to get 1 or 2 picks, and then using a slider to make the rest of the distance to the zone.
Indeed. It sounds like we actually, as fun as these players are, and I look forward to seeing both of them further down in the bracket, we do actually have the next game about up and ready. It looks like it is going to be Retro Records versus Assault and Pepper. I already love these names. I'm not familiar enough with these teams and players, but I look at these names and they're all so creative and fun.
Yeah, Assault and Pepper are a team that has been around for a very long time, actually. They've been around at least since the Splatoon 2 days. I'm not sure if they have been around since Splatoon 1. And I'm not sure how much of the core roster has been the same in that time, but I know I've seen them play at LAN tournaments before. They've been to plenty of those, and they've been a solid fixture in the competitive Splatoon scene for a long time now, and so it'll be exciting to see them play in Prism Break tonight. Retro Records are also an established team. They aren't as established, that is, they haven't been around for as long as Assault and Pepper, but they have been a fixture of Prism Break. They've been consistently participating, and so it'll be exciting to see these two teams face off.
Indeed. Just knowing what you know about these two teams and players, what do you think things are kind of going to go as we dive into Mahi Mahi Resort?
Well, I'll be honest, I don't actually know personally these players well, or their particular strategies and the way that they like to play. I can look them up a little bit on sendu.inc to see some of the weapons that they have to offer, but looking just quickly at Retro Records' Sendu page, none of them have a pencil listed in their weapon pool, so it might be something that we see them not going for a Snipe Rider. However, that would be a pretty strong choice if one of them has it in their pocket to go on Mahi Mahi Resort.
I honestly look at the stage and it's so close range and aggressive that it kind of feels like it might not fit in from my, again, very unexperienced position. but I assume, I mean, it's got so much range, it's got so much poke, and even after the nerfs, Snipe Rider still can output a lot of paint coverage. I can definitely imagine that, especially coupled up with Tacticooler, that it can be very, very effective in covering this territory and getting that extra little bit of chip damage to see through a lot of splats against the opposing team.
Yeah. The pencil just is so good at everything it does, just providing so much paint, controlling space, giving Tacticooler for the team, and allowing the team to play so much more aggressively. And it's really something that has dominated the meta since for quite a while now. For I think significantly over a year now, Pencil has been defining the meta of Splatoon 3. And well, we'll see how these two teams choose to use it or not use it.
I mean, because of those recent nerfs, though, we have started to see the heavy edit splat lane come in to replace it in some circumstances. I think we saw some of it in the previous match, where it's a splat lane. You all know that all too well, and it also comes coupled up with the Tacticooler also, which means that it is a very effective replacement for those who might just be looking for a change of pace, or I guess because of the nerfs, it definitely serves a different purpose. Could you elaborate a little bit on how it fills that purpose differently?
Yeah, well, the pencil might need more certain sight lines or long range openings. The edit can play more aggressively and play more of a close range battle option, but also some players just might have a preference for playing a splatling or want a different sub weapon that is a bomb rather than the cooler, or sorry, not the cooler, the sub weapon being sprinkler on the pencil. But now we are going to see if these two teams are going to choose pencil or not, because we will be getting right into it. We have Assault and Pepper on the left, Retro Records on the right. There's that pencil coming out from Siren, and the cooler for Retro Records will be that Dynamo roller.
Oh yeah, I always forget that Dynamo is also an option for a lot of teams, a lot of builds. It is a much slower, heavier weapon. I don't know if it's that much better at aggression, but when you get close to it, it's pretty much just a one-shot in a lot of circumstances.
Yeah, it's very good at holding its own ground against a rushing short-range shooter, for instance. But Assault and Pepper are the first team to really take control of mid. They've got that Zipcaster coming out, both teams putting a Tacticooler down. There's that Crab turned around to deal with the Splatana Stamper zipping by, and they do manage to do so, but the Crab is all used up as the water level already dropping early into the first minute as Assault and Pepper are going through the timer down the zone. There's that Reef Slider coming out from Mikog on Retro Records, but it doesn't go towards the zone, it just goes alongside it. Still, that's enough to get Retro Records in and allow them to turn the zone into their favor, getting 2 down on the side of Assault and Pepper. And there's Epic going back to grab that Tacticooler juice and trying to hold that zone.
Yeah, Tacticooler is such an important thing in comp. Many consider it to be like essential for a good competitive team, just because of the benefits that Tacticooler provides to its team. Basically meaning that you get improved movement speed. If you get splatted, you immediately respawn, and you get to hold onto your special for future pushes. So it's just like, it's just a huge momentum tool.
Yeah, that special charge, holding on to that special charge is really the biggest factor of the Tacticooler, I would say. But Retro Records actually able to get down to 25 remaining. They had a really good hold there against Assault and Pepper, having control of that zone and keeping them back in their spawn for a while. But of course, it's only the last point that matters in Splat zones if it does go to a knockout, because this is a mode that can go to a knockout pretty often. It usually does. And Retro Records do look to be on pace for that. They did get some penalty points put down for them, but keeping Assault and Pepper at a numbers disadvantage, Chino unable to really move in there with that Neo Splash. They have the Tri-Strikes ready to go, but they'll need support from the team in order to do that. 2 Tri-Strike weapons on Assault and Pepper, the Neo Splash and the Slosher, and there are a set of strikes coming out. Retro Records looking to hold on to the zone, though. They do manage to retake it. More strikes coming out, but Assault and Pepper will need more of that if they want to take it, but they actually managed to take the zone.
Do it! And they're going to start pushing back that little bit of a panic, forcing Retro Records to have to scatter and move backwards just that little bit, giving them a chance to properly try to push. But it looks like Retro Records is already pushing back forwards. I feel like that Dynamo is doing some solid pressure and just like, because of just the way this environment is, there's a lot of cover and Dynamo can just reach over a lot more effectively than the Snipe Rider. And it just played as that big wall that says you can't pass here. If you do, you get Dynamoed. So the only thing that can handle it is the opposing Snipe Rider. But they're not really finding their chances to be able to do that. You have to be able to take it out, otherwise it's just an immovable wall.
Yeah, we did see there that the Dynamo going down was that first step for Assault and Pepper to get right in. It was the Splatana Stamper who's dropped down to the side.
Immediately wiped out though.
Yeah, and got it, but Retro Records coming back again, getting that wipeout.
Just Retro is just on top of this game right now, quickly burning through that penalty. It looks like Assault and Pepper are starting to reclaim some of that turf, but we've barely got a few seconds left on the clock before this game might be over. We do get a refresh on that penalty, which they absolutely need just to bring things out a little bit longer. Dynamo finally down again, and now is their chance to try to push forwards. They've got their entire team. The Dynamo did actually have the Tacticooler quickly hopping back in for more pressure, though. That's Tacticooler. You think you've taken somebody down, and they're already back in the fight before you know it.
Yeah, but once again, Retro Records not quite able to hold on to the zone. Assault and Pepper just barely getting there in time and putting down the Tri-Strikes, but they aren't able to continue off of it. They all go down as well, and Retro Records just get another opportunity to hold them back. 15 seconds left. This will have to be one desperate final push for Assault and Pepper. Soren going down there to the Dynamo once again. But the strikes coming out, not able to capture the zone. Oh, they are able to capture the zone. There's that Tacticooler going down. The Dynamo sneaking behind. Scribus getting behind, using that juice to jump out. And now Assault and Pepper are the team in control. But Mikog using that slider to take the zone and end that overtime right away.
Assault and Pepper just... I like the idea of the triple ink strike. It was a really good synergy in just like, if you have them both, it pretty much, like, even a single triple ink strike was often enough if you just got a little bit of ink alongside of it to claim that territory and just create a little bit more of that wiggle room. You saw it constantly. You see it in the replay or an effort to, and then they throw out another one, and then it's just immediately they're able to bring things back. They managed to create that little bit of a timer. They brought it to like literally last second before they even got some overtime, but weren't able to hold true. The triple ink strike's really powerful, and like you see constantly, they're in control. But when their specials are used exclusively to take control of that middle area and just create more and more penalty, but not actually do anything proactive for the match itself, it just led to Retro Records being able to hold their ground. They got to use their specials more proactively. The Reef Slider did a lot more than both of those triple ink strikes combined half the time.
Yeah, I was really thinking the same thing, that Retro Records, they were definitely in the stronger position, and Assault and Pepper were playing on the back foot, really using those strikes frantically to retake the zone and then just going down as soon as they got it. Only at the very end there did they actually put together a push that allowed them to hold the zone. That is after that very first one before the water level dropped. But at that point, just a single push with the Reef Slider from Retro Records was enough to end it. But now we'll be moving on to Scorch Gorge Rainmaker.
Rainmaker is always an interesting one because it's so easy. Or if you're not careful, Especially if you get wiped out, like you've got that little bit of wiggle room because there are checkpoints that prevent teams from being able to just gun it to the end. But it is super fast and easy just to, if you get the advantage, you wipe your opposing team to just gun it to the end, and then you just gun it to the next end, and then the game's already over. So I'm really curious to see how this is going to play out. I imagine both sides are going to want to be a little more defensive and careful. I mean, we got the Dynamo Roller on Retro's side again. They might be looking to push here.
Yeah, that looks like a similar if not exactly the same from Retro Records, but Assault and Pepper switching to that Splattershot Junior with with the big bubbler kit. That is the bubbler is becoming a much more favored special recently, and in Rainmaker it can be really well used, as we are seeing it now, to just provide a little bit more defense, as well as protecting the space around the checkpoint when you really need to just get that Rainmaker a little bit further. But now it is the Junior who has picked up the Rainmaker, that is Siren, and now Chino is the one playing on the pencil here. I believe it was Siren in the first game, but now it's Chino on pencil duty. However, Scribus getting that Tacticooler down and helping to stop that Rainmaker push at 81 remaining.
Indeed. I imagine Assault and Pepper were hoping to get the big bubbler set up to make a push, but they were not able to get that ready in time. And now Retro Records is back to reclaiming that turf, looking for the reset before they start pushing forwards. It doesn't look like they want to be too aggressive here, especially since this is a much better stage for the Snipe Raider. There's just much better, like, advantageous positions for them to be able to perch up and poke around and just cause a lot of chaos and trouble for Retro Records.
Yeah, and Assault and Pepper are putting down those tri-strikes using their specials to try and hold Retro Records back, but Retro Records already taking the lead right there. Not quite able to get it to the checkpoint there as the Zipcaster from Assault and Pepper is coming out. That's Soren there getting a trade with the corresponding Stamper on the side of Retro Records, but now Siren has that big bubbler up, holding on, grabbing the Rainmaker now, and making sure to prevent Retro Records from getting through that checkpoint on this push.
Something I really like about the big bubbler too that's very easy to forget is that that big bubbler itself is also a beacon. So even if your team kind of scatters and is spread out away from it, if you're looking for a safe recovery option, you just jump straight to the big bubbler, pray that there's nobody camping it to punish you, and then you've got a nice defensive push to be able to pester the opposing team.
Yeah, that is a really good portion of the bubbler's utility, but Assault and Pepper are definitely going to need it. They don't quite have that bubbler ready to go. They have one special at the ready. It is the Tri-Strikes, but Jeff is holding on to them for a little bit longer, might be waiting until that Stamper is ready to move in. The Rainmaker, they're choosing to reset it here, and speaking of Stampers, Epic over there on the side of Retro Record is sharking underneath, looking to punish someone for getting too close, and going in for the pick now, not getting it though. Siren takes them out.
Sets up the big bubbler, the Reef Slider's gonna take it out immediately.
Yeah, immediately, and now there's a cooler up for both teams, getting into a tense fight here in mid, chaotic fight here in mid, one jumping out, one going down. That's two down on the side of Retro Records. It looks like they won't be able to put together yet another push, but still neither team has actually made it to and through that first checkpoint. So it's been largely a war of attrition here in mid throughout the first 4 minutes of this game, but now 3 down on the side of Retro Records. This is a chance for Assault and Pepper.
And they managed to break through. They have the lead now. Assault and Pepper just need to hold this, maybe push even further for this last minute. Definitely going to make a push with the big bubbler and triple strike. They are going to gain a good chunk of points, but will not be able to push forward. There's just too much pressure going on. But just those few extra points means that there's that little bit more room in this final minute, and the overtime that's likely going to be coming up. They might even be looking to push a little bit further if they get the chance, as this Tacticooler comes down, and Retro Records is currently just kind of getting staggered.
Yeah. picking up the Rainmaker for just a second there. It looked like it might have been about to reset, but Assault and Pepper kept it stuck on that side. For a moment, I thought that Assault and Pepper were going to hold on to control there, keeping Retro Records down, and might have wanted to go for an even stronger push, but either they just delayed a little bit too long, or it could have just been that those strikes and the specials from Retro Records were holding them back just enough. But that does mean that Assault and Pepper doesn't wipe, and in fact are holding on to that numbers advantage and are managing to keep the lead here. Rainmaker is in possession of Retro Records though, falling back just a bit, trying to stay out of range of that pencil and let the rest of the team go for it. They have overtime here, 30 seconds left on the Rainmaker timer, so if they can't get to the checkpoint in that time, it is going to explode. They have a time limit here. Soren using that Zipcaster, trying to go directly for the Rainmaker, not getting picked off just yet, but not able to land the splat either. Grimace still holding on here.
Few more seconds left on the clock. They have to do something. They don't have enough time to continue camping back, and they're gonna lose it as Assault and Pepper managed to snipe down Retro Records in the last few seconds, ensuring a victory, a point in their favor. Really nicely played from Assault and Peppers, and just that big push in the last few moments, and just managing to really show how effective the Sniperator is alongside with all the other weapons. I have clear bias on what weapons I like to point at and be like, that's the one that made the game. But like, it was definitely a huge team effort. Big Bubbler was really important in things too, but like Sniperator was huge in just kind of preventing Retro Records from pushing forwards here. It was just a much better stage for it compared to the Dynamo Roller.
Yeah, this right here, this replay with like a minute and change left, getting the 3 players down on the side of Retro Records, that was the green light that Assault and Pepper were looking for. It had been a war of attrition that whole time, just a very tense stalemate in mid for so much of the match, but then all of a sudden, once they had that significant numbers advantage and the paint advantage and the special advantage, everything going in their favor at that moment, they turned on the Jets and managed to take the lead and push it a little bit further, holding on to bring this to a game 3.
Yeah, that's a huge part of Rainmaker. That's, if you're looking to climb up the ladder in Rainmaker, that's the big thing that you always need to learn to understand. And pray that if you don't have like a proper team, you pray that your teammates understand too, is you do not push the Rainmaker until you have a guaranteed lead. Things like tower control, sometimes you can get these weird situations where you can kind of like hop up onto the tower while there's a lot of chaos going on and you'll slip away. Very rarely that can happen in Rainmaker, but more often than not, if you haven't caused a near wipeout or a full wipeout or at least a numbers advantage with others pushing forwards, you don't touch the Rainmaker because it can be useful in a lot of situations, but more often than not, the weapon you're bringing to the game is going to be far more valuable, far more useful, far more effective in helping you keep that advantage going.
Yeah, and picking up the Rainmaker also just puts a massive target on your back too. But enough of Rainmaker now. We are headed to Shipshape Cargo Company for some tower control.
We love some tower control here. As noted before, it is a very good stage for it's a very good mode for like being an aggressive pusher, an active like part of the fight, because you get onto that tower and you just start naturally building special. It rewards you so much for being on there, and you can actually be surprisingly sturdy where you do become a target essentially. You have to be in a very narrow square space, but that center tower actually can prevent a lot of things from happening and protect you pretty effectively as you push, as we are seeing from Assault and Pepper as they're trying to rush forward, but it's not going to work out too well here.
Yeah, interestingly, Retro Records also bringing out that Splattershot Jr. from Rice, whereas Assault and Pepper switching Jeff to the Neo sloshing machine, and that is going to be interesting, bringing out that Trizuka. I believe the first Trizuka we've seen in this set, potentially. But now 3 down on the side of Retro Records, and Nikog using that Reef Slider to counter that Zipcaster, but the Zipcaster is already gone, and Assault and Pepper with that bubble on the tower, getting through that very long first checkpoint, already done with it. Mikog under the tower there, putting some paint on it from below, but gets taken out. I think that might have been the Splat Bomb that did it, and now Siren is just going to continue riding that tower, putting down paint around it, surviving a little bit more, and now the tower is already down at 33 remaining.
You saw really good Trizuka snipe as well a little bit earlier, taking down the Splattershot Jr. and just giving that little bit more room, that breathing time to be able to bring it all the way over, just barely missing out on the last checkpoint, which, I mean, we might see them be heading there again. It seems like they're pretty eager to get to that checkpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. Assault and Pepper still working to hold back Retro Records, keeping that numbers advantage and preventing them from getting the tower to the middle of the map. Now it's Assault and Pepper firmly still in control of that middle portion of the map and just getting the tower back under their control when it gets there. Here we have Jeff sitting by the tower, looking for a bit more paint, looking to use those point sensors and expose the location of the enemy team, hiding there under the ledge, jumping out when it gets a little dangerous. But now, Assault and Pepper with that bubble shredded off the tower pretty quickly, not getting any more points here, but still making sure that the tower stays on Retro Records' side of the map.
And it's very, very important that they continue to hold it like this, because the moment they lose ground, the moment they lose control, tower can become very aggressive, can be very swarmy, and Retro Records has a lot of weapons that can allow them to kind of just like, if they get advantage, they can just rush down Assault and Pepper and just shut everything down. The Dynamo can come in and just kind of like oppress a lot of situations. It'll be really hard to get the Dynamo off the tower once it's on there. So they want to just make sure that it's never happens, but I think they've just lost a lot of tempo, and it might be a chance for Retro Records to finally make their push with the last 2 minutes on the timer.
Yeah, agreed. Now that they had that numbers advantage go in their favor for a second, quickly dealing with that one player who was still sitting there in their pit. Now, using that Reef Slider to cancel a bubble immediately to go down on the side of Assault and Peppers, and this could be the chance for Retro Records. They don't have any specials at the ready at the moment. That Tacticooler they did just use, but nothing more than that. There's that Zuka coming out from Jeff, aiming at the tower, looking to stall it a little bit more. Retro Records haven't gotten past the checkpoint there, but there's another Reef Slider able to put away that pressure, and now Retro Records are coming back here. They're getting closer to that second and final checkpoint. It goes down very quickly once the tower is between the two checkpoints, getting close there now, but now that's a big fight there. Soren on that Zipcaster gets taken out. That big leveler protected it just long enough, and now that's a trade. Only one player left on each side. Mikog versus Chino. Mikog able to take the tower. There's jumps from both teams coming in. Retro Records haven't made it to the 22-point mark. They've made it to the checkpoint, but not far enough along yet. They really want this push to go their way. 2 players down on both sides.
30 seconds left on the clock. They have to be able to claim it back. The big bubbler is going to be able to guard the tower. Sets them back by a milestone. Retro Records has a long hill to be able to bring things back. And that Reef Slider not even getting any splats, just forcing some displacement, which is still useful. But when we've got 10 seconds left on the clock, they need more than just displacement. They need a push. And this Snipe Rider is just not going down.
Yeah, no specials ready from Retro Records at the moment. Just getting that cooler now, using it on the tower. And there's the big bubbler coming out. Might have been an early bubbler. Might have been better to save it for when the tower got to the checkpoint. But with the numbers advantage now, Assault and Pepper are going to really work to move the tower forward. They have the checkpoint, and they aren't quite doing it. Yes, they are!
And they managed to just push through in the last few moments. Overtime active. And Retro Records will be able to lock it in, claiming this best of 3, 2-1.
Wow, that was such a tense ending. Overtime going in favor of that comeback from Retro Records to get the win over Assault and Pepper.
Indeed. We saw such a good push from Assault and Pepper before. We're kind of watching it again now. Something that I noticed, especially in the later points, the Zipcasters start to become a little more desperate or / greedy with a lot of their plays, which very respectful, and if they paid off, they would have been huge. Like, you charge in, you get a charge slash right on the tower, and it splats like 2 or 3 people. That's the game right there. But huge credit to Retro Records' entire team on just being like ready for it. Whenever they saw it coming, that Zipcaster immediately went down. It was just sniped down time and time again. Both of the critical Zipcaster moments that could have been game enders just completely shut down, completely canceled, and ended. And gave them the moment to really push through, make this big final push, gain that lead after nearly wiping out Assault and Pepper, and being able to claim the victory because of that.
Yeah. What an ending to a very strong, very tense game from both teams there. Retro Records ending up making it through that overtime and coming out ahead here. This, if you're paying attention to the seeds of these two teams on the bracket, this was a pretty significant upset for Retro Records, coming in as the 14th seed with Assault and Pepper as the 3 seed, favored significantly to win. But Assault and Pepper having a first round bye in this bracket, maybe they weren't as warmed up. Who knows? Maybe Retro Records were coming in hot after their 2-0 win over Aurora Remix, and Retro Records will continue on into the bracket.
I mean, the question is cephalopods cold-blooded? Because if they are, then it's definitely very important to be heated up. You be in that sun, be in that activity a little bit more, just gets the blood going, and that would definitely be a good chunk of the reason why Retro Records just had that momentum. But even if not, momentum is a huge part of any competitive game, any gaming field you see anywhere. Yeah, you can get tired because you've been playing too much, but you can absolutely have the opposite, where if you've been well rested, you ate your noodles and you're feeling nice and happy, you're able to kind of just like keep that train rolling. You pick up a lot as you're playing, and you just make all these notes, and you feel a lot more refreshed. I know whenever I play Splatoon, my first 1 or 2 games are dog water. Granted, I play Explosion. I'm not that great at it. But then once you get a few games in, all of a sudden you're like, all right, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm rolling. And Assault and Pepper, because it's nice to get the buy. It feels nice. It's the pat on the back, says, hey, you're really good at this video game. You got to chill a little bit more. But you're kind of left with the option of either resting, which that's also a really useful thing for some players, where the best thing to do is like your best games are the first couple. So you chill, take it easy, you get ready. Or maybe you need to go warm up and it's like, oh, we've got to buy. Let's group up. Let's go into like anarchy mode and just play against some randos in whatever mode, just so that we're in the motion.
Yeah, but we are quickly going to be coming into our next set, third round here between New Wave and Triggerfish Zone Supremacy. TZS being a very established team here long term. New Wave, they are also an established team, but I don't know them quite as well. I don't know if they've been around for as long as Triggerfish Zones have. But if you are a fan of off-meta weapon picks, if you're a fan of teams just doing what they do best and having fun regardless of what the meta says, keep an eye out for TZS. They are going to cook something up for you, as they so often do.
Yeah, speaking of Triggerfish, I miss that map.
Yeah.
We're not going there though.
Nope. While this team may believe in Triggerfish Zone's supremacy, we got a different fish zones. We got Hagglefish Zones. Is Hagglefish okay?
We'll settle for it.
Yeah, interesting choice there with that ZNF charger providing the backline and the NZAP on the side of New Wave here, and with TCS of course bringing that there's
an Explosher!
Yeah, there's that custom Explosher. There's Kraken on the brush, as well as a Junior, and of course that splatter shot. There is one going down on the side of New Wave. So make that 3 going down. They have that cooler up, but the Zap being the last one left, having to jump out as TCS take the zone first and are starting to push up into that flat area of New Wave.
This is such a good stage. I don't know. It could be biased. This feels like such a good stage for Explosher, so I'm really excited to see this, because that high ground, that spot up there, it's very protective for most support weapons, but it is especially protective for an Expulsure because you can kind of use the tent pole to kind of protect you, and you get that upper angle, that upper curve. You also saw that splash wall means that it's just even easier to protect and guard yourself. I really like the triple splashdown just because, especially in zones, you rush in, splash down, reclaim the turf, or you push a little bit further and you just splat like half of the opposing force. It is such a good support weapon for Hagel Fish Market.
Yeah, Pepe trying to survive there, staying in squid form on that glass there, but are New Wave able to stop it? They finally get points on the board after TZS get down to 1 remaining. New Wave don't let them hold on just yet. They don't get the shutout. Kraken trying to get away, not quite able to do it as New Wave are taking the zone now. They are going to try to set up in a strong position for them here, using that Trizuka, not able to get anything done with it, only just painting that ink rail, but now Triggerfish Zones trying to get in, but going 2 down for it. That push isn't going to go in their favor. They've got 2 specials ready still, though. That triple splashdown from Vapor and the big bubbler from Smork on the Junior. But now we see Draconif on the ZNF Charger looking for those shots. In fact, that's the ZNF Splatter scope. That is the scoped version of the Charger. Now the specials are coming out from Triggerfish Zones, though, and New Wave trying to stop them with strikes, but there's that splashdown, trying to slowly push their way in methodically, and using that bubbler on the side with the flank. TZS able to get that zone back in their favor.
Very nicely done. Very good pressure and just being able to force New Wave back. Now they've got pretty much the exact same amount of penalty, even though they've got another 15 points they need to claim. Managing to pull that off in the last few moments as well. That if they weren't able to pull that off, it could have been very quickly turned to a full reverse sweep for New Wave. But Triggerfish managing to get those couple of choice splats and getting that reverse pressure to push back once more. They're looking for 5 more points. They just need a little bit more control. This Expulsure just painting everything, and they're going to be able to get the knockout.
Yeah, holding off that reverse shutout there from New Wave. TZS do manage to hold on at the end, winning some of those later fights, not letting that Zuka from New Wave get the picks that they were looking for. And so Triggerfish Zones take game 1 here with a knockout, a well-fought knockout here over New Wave.
Indeed, and here we're seeing that pushback. A lot of quick choice splats. You notice that 2 of New Wave's teammates start falling down. Triggerfish reclaims the turf, reclaims that base, manages to push back, and they just continue to hold that pressure. And then as we move into these final few seconds, the triple ink strike is such a popular special in zones because of what you see there. They always want to paint the zone with it.
Yep, yeah, and it's good for keep moving players away. It does a lot of damage in a short amount of time, and it puts down a decent amount of paint. So if you're able to get them on the zone, that can really help to retake the zone. But if you don't have all 3, or if the zone's a little bigger like it was there, it might not be enough, as we saw. But now we'll be moving right back into Scorch Gorge, but this time on Clan Blitz.
This is a game mode that a lot of people are confused by. Could you give me a quick rundown on how Clan Blitz works?
Yeah, sure. So the goal is to score clams into the other team's basket. You pick up 8 of those little clams there, and they form a power clam, which is the only way you can start scoring, by throwing a power clam in. As we see, we have 13 clams being held on now 11 as one player goes down on the side of Triggerfish Zone Supremacy. Only 5 clams in the possession of New Wave, and keeping that clam economy, as we like to say, in your favor is a key part of playing Clan Blitz. You need to be holding on to clams in order to score, and now Vapor is holding on to a power clam there. Their location is exposed, and it does allow Draconif to just get that snipe through the air as Vapor was falling, and very good shot there to take them out. But Smork has picked up that that power clam there, and now Triggerfish Zone Supremacy holding onto the space in mid. In that bubble, they've got 2 power clams ready to go, and they want to push forward with those. But no, New Wave are not going to let them. They are still surviving, still putting down the paint in front of Triggerfish Zones. But
they're starting to
it looks
lose
like
the
they're going to push in. Kraken dives in and dies. They get 2 power clams in, and so Triggerfish Zone Supremacy has 40 points, 43, 49 points on the board, getting it down to 51 remaining as their first push appears to come to an end. Maybe Kraken will be sneaking in somewhere and trying to score, but no, they get seen on the side, and the barrier goes back up for New Wave, who are looking in now with Draconif on top mid, looking for those really good sightlines for that ZNF splatter scope, and New Wave will want to make a push of their own. They have 3 down for Triggerfish Zones. They have just made a power clam and are starting to score here. There's a lot of clams lying around for them to score, but they'll need some more. Oh, there is that power clam. They have taken the lead here. New Wave, they've got those clams into the basket, and as Triggerfish Zone Supremacy are coming back, they are going to need to stop this push before they bleed any more points.
Indeed. And you were talking about that clam. What was the word that you used?
Clam economy.
Clam economy, yes. We've talked a lot about these games before, and just like all the back and forth and how important it is to not get splatted. It is especially prominent here because when you get splatted during clam blitz, any of the clams you're holding immediately get poured onto the ground. If the opponent is there, they can immediately come in, swoop, pick it all up, and now they've got more clams. If you get splatted and you've got the big power clam, then all of a sudden that football is just sitting on the ground. If it sits around for too long, it disappears, which we're not seeing at all because these teams are just so aggressive.
Yeah, notice Smork there picking up the pity clam because when the basket goes back down, they will be granted another pity clam there. As you can see, it just goes down. Didn't want to leave the first one there to hold onto that space, because if you leave that first pity clam there, you won't get a new one. But now this does mean there is a potential for another 20 more points if they can bring that pity clam in. But now 2 down on the side of Triggerfish, or on the side of New Wave. That's another one going down. Vapor using that splashdown, and that means Triggerfish Zones can get that second power clam in and take the lead. They're down to 23 points remaining here with a minute and a half to go. No one is really bothering to go back and get that final pity clam that was given to them, but they didn't have an angle in, so that's not really a mistake per se. But now New Wave will have to go for another push of their own. 16 penalty points plus 26 more points to take the lead here.
Ooh, nice triple ink strike, definitely clearing up some ground. They have most control of most of the field, are trying to set up to push in for a final score. 1 minute left on the clock. They need something to turn the tides here. The Explosher kind of just like doing Explosher stuff, staying nice and far away, getting these pot shots and just painting the turf. Explosher's splash damage is so massive, it has so much reach and coverage. It can just, if you get hit in the Explosher's like center point, if you have full health, you won't get instantly splatted, but it takes away like all your health, and then you're just stuck in the middle.
Yeah, that Exploser can be nasty. Getting hit once, and you just feel so exposed for a second shot. Looks like New Wave had someone under the basket there, but they didn't have the clams, they didn't have the support. Only around 20 seconds left. New Wave have that pity clam ready to go. They're only holding on to 6 more clams. They'll need more than that if they want to score. Picking up that pity clam, though, is their splatter shot. Last call over there, trying to put down the pressure on the side. There's those strikes coming in from the other side, but last call goes down as well as that shot. And so now they've got a few players coming in. That clam is going to go down as the wipeout comes out. Triggerfish Zone Supremacy take the set 2-0.
So there's a couple of ways that you can kind of close out a game in Clam Blitz if overtime is happening. Obviously, the first one is make sure that the power clam that is the threat breaks, and that can happen as long as it's not a pity clam that's sitting at the bottom of the net. It will eventually break. A pity clam will just sit there forever. The alternative is just let the timer ticks down if you can just prevent them from getting in. Alternatively, one of the ways that I know a lot of teams and a lot of players like to go for, I like to do it myself, it's not a good idea if I'm the support, but, is to rush in, and if you've got a big power climb of your own, if you open the opposing team's net while you're winning, it ends the game immediately.
Yep. And then usually my preference is just know that it's a 20-second timer, and if you can hold on for another 20 seconds, then it'll end the game there. But it really depends on the situation, and Triggerfish Zone Supremacy knew that New Wave needed to push, and they knew that they knew that they were just going to feed right into them. And if you'll excuse me, I think I might have said they won the set, but no, this is now best of 5 here, now that we are getting towards the later stages of this winner side bracket. We are in round 3 here, and it has moved to best of 5, if you'll excuse me. So it'll have to be one more win for TCS, and we will be going to Undertow, Spillway, and back to more Rainmaker.
Indeed, Rainmaker's a real... Rainmaker here's pretty interesting. You actually have 2 different checkpoints that you can head to break that first checkpoint, and then from there you can rush towards the end. So there's a couple of options. There's a little bit more flexibility. If you notice the opposing team is leaning a little too hard on one side, you can kind of take a sneaky pivot and push around the other way. We might see that in this game even. But generally, you want to stick with your team and you want to kind of push in the same direction, because if you can kind of lock the opposing team down, force them to funnel into a specific path that you have control over, much like what we're seeing here with New Wave, it can definitely give you a lot more room to kind of take advantage of the cover of this stage. It's a very covery stage. There's a lot of hills and pathways. They almost got a knockout within the first minute.
Yeah. In Rainmaker Civilization, no one goes for the right check. It's much safer to go for the left check than to risk your life much closer to the enemy spawn. But now New Wave getting that early push, very, very strong distance, very strong push for them, able to get all the way to 8 points remaining. And now TCS, if they want to sweep here, they are going to have to put in the work. There's that special coming out, that Trizuka from the Order Shot replica. That is that is the shot on the side of New Wave, who got that Zuka, not able to do anything with it. That is Minty, who does go down in that fight. Now Pepe bringing a Zuka of their own, not able to get anything done with it, and also goes down to that blaster. That is last call using it. Specials coming out, stopping the Rainmaker in that corner, that very secluded corner that's hard to get out of if you're the attacking team. But as New Wave are defending here, they are easily able to pick up the Rainmaker once again, and now are ready to start another push.
That is such a devious place for that Rainmaker to get stuck. There's nowhere to go as the attacking team, and it was pretty much, once it got stuck in that corner, it was all but lost. Nice snipe with the Killer Whale 5.2 we're at?
I think it's 5.1. 5.1 sound.
They haven't gotten the update yet.
Maybe it'll be 7.1 in Splatoon 4. But now Kraken's taking the Rainmaker here, holding onto it. One down on the side of New Wave. They are able to get through that checkpoint with a very well-timed bubble defending them. They could have gone down to some of the enemy fire, but now there's that Killer Whale coming out, and Kraken has picked up the Rainmaker once again, diving in, only getting it to the 20 points remaining mark. Vapor bringing the splashdown, and that's a wipeout! That is a wipeout! All of TCS going down for that push there, not able to get the Rainmaker any further than 20. Less than 2 minutes left here.
That triple splashdown. If there was just one other teammate, if there was one other member of Triggerfish there when the triple splashdown happened, they might have been able to push forwards. Like, that was such a great opportunity, but there was nobody left alive to be able to capitalize on it, and it absolutely hurt them and threw off a lot of their tempo. But they're already going straight back in for another push.
Yeah. TCS, they want this win here. They want to make it a clean 3-0. They've got a minute left, and they are in control of the momentum here. One down on the side of New Wave. Minty trying to get something done over here on the side with that Zuka, aiming for the Rainmaker, and that does get the the Zuka shot on target. Now Blue over here trying to hold on and defend, but goes down as well. Last Call getting revenge for it, but losing the fight as well. Now Triggerfish Zone's looking to get another push here with the Rainmaker, trying to pop it there. Kraken is, but Vapor goes down.
35 seconds left on the clock. A huge thing for that New Wave definitely wants to do. That is not let that happen. At this point, I honestly feel like one of their better calls would be to. It makes it so your weapon isn't as effective, but just take control of the Rainmaker. Get away with it. Not what's happening here. That is an opening for a wipeout. They managed to stop them just in time. 13 seconds left on the clock. They get it again. They get the lead. That is 1 point. I think they got the wipeout.
Nearly knocking it out right then and there, but the constant pressure from TZS showing that the determination is just going to pay off. As long as they can just keep that numbers advantage up, they managed to get it all the way to 1 remaining. So now this is a long distance left to bring the Rainmaker to the goal. It is overtime here. There is 40 seconds, 40 ticks left on that Rainmaker. That is the time limit here that they have. But no, Vapor able to get that splat and sealing the deal. This is actually the set. This is 3-0 and TZS take it.
Absolutely phenomenal final game. Everything looked like it was set for a New Wave there. Like, they were going to start getting their reverse sweep. Tower control is not a good... It's a very difficult stage to use, or mode to use Exploshers very well, which meant that the support would have either had to pick a different weapon, or might have had to find a different strategy. Granted, custom can work pretty well in the right circumstances, but it might have been their chance to start turning things around. But TCS or TCZS with that huge push in the last few seconds, just how many triple splashdowns did they land there? Like, it felt like they had like 3 constantly just charging up, going for it, charging up, going for it, just constantly getting these triple splashdowns and sweeping through New Wave, just opening up the path that little bit more. That big bubbler you saw as well, just forcing them to have to respond to that.
Yeah, what I'm looking at here, I was looking at that replay for a second, like towards the end, TZS really able to just keep the players funneling in, and they weren't even running a Tacticooler there. Even without a Tacticooler on their comp, they were able to just keep cycling their players in and winning those fights to hold the pressure on, to keep New Wave on the back foot, and to manage to just ratchet their way forward and get the Rainmaker little by little towards New Wave's goal and for the win.
I mean, that's just simply like, that's what you call a good support. That's a support that's doing its job. That's a team that's like working around that. Where like, I mean, Tacticooler is super important, lets you respawn and get back into the fight really quickly. But I'm not saying that like, oh, everybody just needs to get on this level. It's really hard to just not die in Splatoon. It is incredibly hard. Even supports, and even the person in the most backline, it is asinine in difficulty just to be able to be like, not die. But as long as you can kind of keep playing by that game, keep that tempo up, like you saw how it paid off. My bias is showing. I'm talking about the Explosher. I like Explosher, but like just it charges special really quickly. It has a lot of coverage. The splash wall for the custom is really useful, and then just being able to charge it up so quickly over and over. You saw so many triple ink strike, or not ink strike, splashdowns. Everything's triple. It confuses me. In the last like few moments of that, and each one was pivotal in getting that push forward because it just pushed New Wave that little bit further back.
Yeah. All of the pressure from Triggerfish Zones really just allowed them to keep moving that push forward a little bit at a time, and that's really what they needed. They just needed to get in there, get in there.
Yep, just get in there, continue trudging forward, just become that immovable, like unstoppable force. However slow it was an unstoppable force that was just like step by step by step, and they finally managed to get to the point where it's like they constantly were just like wiping out New Wave over and over, just like, and New Wave managed to take down the Rainmaker several times. Like, what was that? 2-3 splats of the Rainmaker before they finally got the lead, where it was just literal like inches, centimeters away from being able to like get into that area, where New Wave was just constantly on top of it. Is like, we just need to stall for like 10 more seconds. Please just keep killing them. And they just couldn't.
Yeah, the pressure, that's so much pressure, and New Wave just wasn't able to defend under it. They managed to get some really clutch picks, but they just needed more and more of them, and it was never quite enough, especially with the Rainmaker pop just putting down so much more paint for TZS like every time.
It's really easy to forget how effective the Rainmaker is as a weapon. Sure, it might not always be great, but in a place like Undertow, I feel like that's one of the few stages where you can really start to see it shine. Would have wished I brought this up sooner so that we could have kind of looked and maybe seen what happened, but like, I imagine the Rainmaker was actually really important because much like the Explosher, it's basically just a better Explosher, where it has that curve, it has that angle so it can get over walls really effectively, and then it has this big explosion when you charge it up fully that will just instant splat like most enemies, unless they're just on the corner or the edge of it, in which case they take a decent amount of damage.
Yeah, but now we are going to be moving on to our next set. This is the semifinals. This will be a best of 5 once again between Distortion, the #1 overall seed in this tournament, and Wave Breaker. Distortion is a high-level pickup. Wave Breaker, an established team, and so we will see which of these two teams is going to win out here.
I got confused for a second. I'm like, wait, what's New Wave doing in the winners semis? We just saw them get moved down, but no, this is Wave Breaker. It's a different team.
Yeah, this isn't the other Wave team. This is a New Wave team. Wait, no.
My perception is being distorted right now. I don't know what's going on. Maybe we should just talk about the stages and what's coming up next.
Yes. Interesting order of match that we have here. Zones are the first and fourth map mode. I'm not sure if that is a standard feature of Prism Break at this point. I personally haven't been keeping up with all of the changes from week to week, but that is how it's going to be. If we get to a game 4, we will have a second zones map before a tiebreak on Humpback Rainmaker, which will be exciting to see if it gets there, but we first have some other games to get through first. I'm noticing Sturgeon Tower on this map list.
That's an interesting one. Out of these 5, which one are you, like, I mean, you just said Humpback Rainmaker is the one that you're kind of like looking forward to most, yeah? Out of these 5 stages, like, which one do you feel like you'd be most confident in as a player, and
okay.
what would you do?
Okay, well, it looks like we are not going to Sturgeon Tower. That is Ship-Shape Tower in the Game 2 slot.
Oh!
Well,
talking about distortions right now, we got a lot of illusions going all over the place. We're being deceived left, right, and center.
Yeah, so Ship-Shape, a much more competitively common map to see in tower control. I mean, I have seen Sturgeon Tower before, but less so in recent events. But first up, we will be having Splat Zones on Mako Mart. We have already seen this map on tower control tonight, but not on Splat Zones, I believe.
This stage is so fun for Splat Zones. There's at least there's so many like pathways. It's really easy to shark in this stage because there's the hidden pathways to the left and right that you can kind of sneak through, and even as you're going down that hallway, there are the walls that you can just paint and climb straight upwards. There's a lot of players that like to perch on those higher inventory boxes, and you can just like sneak up if you got a weapon that's good at one-shotting, like a roller, or just like Splattershot Junior, or like most of the meta weapons in this game right now. You could just show up, say hello, and everybody just dies. And then you get the zone.
Yep, and we will see if that's how Distortion choose to play it, or if they're able to, or if one team, I should say, is able to really strongly hold off the other and just get through the zone very quickly. Because Distortion here, they are a team with players who have done well in these open level weeklies, and players who regularly make it all the way through. But now Wavebreaker are going to be looking for an upset here. Distortion bringing out that E-leader, and Wavebreaker on the custom E-leader. Okay, double dapple dualies here for Distortion. That's an interesting choice.
I'm here for this. I am here for this. I love the dapple dualies. They're just so fun. They have such a short range, but they shoot so fast. They're basically a Splattershot Junior, but in dually form. They just come out, they have so much quick fire damage. They can do so much, but they're really efficient with their ink as well, which means that you can kind of just like be very aggressive and fast with them.
Yeah, there's Noah from Wavebreaker dropping down into the path of that Carbon Roller, who has that Trizuka ready to go now, looking for a pick with it, not able to get anything yet. And now there's that Kraken coming out from the custom leader on the side of Wavebreaker, looking for another after not quite able to get much done there. There's a trade for that Trizuka, but one of the Dapples getting even more picks here. That is the Dapples Nouveau with that Reef Slider ready to go here. But now the Vanilla Dapples player with the beacons able to get a beacon pretty far in and sneaking behind to get onto that plat. There's that bubble coming out from Wavebreaker, but they're going to need more than that if they want to take the zone, even as they go 2 down.
Especially when the E-leader can just shoot the top of it and has immediately taken down that bubbler, defeating the purpose of it entirely, and we are going to get a clean knockout. We didn't even get to see what the beacons do. What do they do?
They I guess locate other players, enemy players who are around them. And if you go down, they provide super jumps, but that wasn't really super necessary for Distortion in this game. You could see on that ending map just 2 trails of green on that left side and absolutely no purple. That tells a story of how this game went.
And you can kind of see it in this replay as well. Distortion's just double dually build with the Carbon Roller. That's just 3 really aggressive weapons.
Yeah, aggressive, close range, in-your-face kind of weapons that Wavebreaker didn't have an answer for, it seemed. They weren't able to use any of the tools at their disposal to flush them out, not able to put together a push to take the zone, and that led to a knockout shutout here, quick KO for Distortion in Game 1.
Indeed. But now from the looks of things, we're going to be heading to our next stage. Ship-shaped cargo. We saw this before. This is a really good tower stage. There's a lot of good purchase to play defensively. There's a lot of positions to kind of just like sneak around, move around. It's really good for just like defensive plays. I feel like it's a little bit harder for aggressive weapons.
Yeah, we saw this before, actually. We saw this in an earlier set, Ship-Shaped Tower, and that was a really back-and-forth overtime game in, I believe that was the second round between Retro Records and Assault and Pepper, where Retro Records got that overtime comeback. But now Distortion and Wavebreaker will be fighting it out here. The interesting thing to me about Ship-Shape as a tower map is that it is 2 checkpoints. It feels like it should be 3, but that first checkpoint is so long that, and the first checkpoint is so long that you're already down to around 70 points by the time you're through it, and then just in the blink of an eye, getting to the second checkpoint, you're down to like 30 points. So the points can fall very quickly in this mode if a team is able to get past that first checkpoint. But now, sticking with that double dapples, I should say, we've got a player on Distortion bringing out that mini Splatling, the Zinc mini Splatling, and switching their backline option to the Hydra Splatling.
Ooh, this is just a lot more like prolonged coverage and pressure that they're going to be able to apply. Hydra is so frustrating to play against in tower control because they're just like across from the field and they just pelt that thing down, and they don't even have to be as on top of aiming as like most chargers generally need to do. They just spray in that general area, they tilt it a little bit when they see you drop down, and then you're immediately out of this game.
Yeah, there's that Reef Slider not getting anything done here, but 2 going down on the side of Wavebreaker as the tower makes it 8 ticks remaining in that checkpoint. They aren't able to get through it. They put up a good fight there at first, and also, I should point out, Horshio on the side of Wavebreaker bringing out those Dark Tetra Dualies.
Indeed. What do the Dark Tetra Dualies do again? I'm not fully familiar. That's another Reef Slider weapon, right?
Yes, they do have Reef Slider, they do have 4 dodge rolls, and they can put down ink and put down fire while they are dodge rolling, unlike other dualies. So that is a bit more of an aggressive option. There's that mini Splatling, actually the only one left up on the side of Distortion for a moment, and Cider able to get a splat on them pretty cleanly. Wavebreaker still holding on to the lead here, even as 2 goes down. There's that bubble up, getting through more of that checkpoint, and once again, it's just the mini who's left on the side of Distortion, and Wavebreaker have made it past that first checkpoint and are looking to close the distance to the second one.
Indeed, this push is going very well for Wavebreaker right now. I think I just saw... Okay, no, it was the Kraken. We got the big bubbler to make sure that they are able to push through that checkpoint. Really good usage of the big bubbler in that moment, just recognizing that while it's been nerfed, it doesn't last nearly as long on towers. It lasts just long enough to be able to get through checkpoints. So if you time it perfectly, like you just saw Wavebreaker do, you can get through some of those more pivotal moments. And we're literally a point away, and we do get the knockout.
Yeah, wow. Wavebreaker, they came to fight here in game 2. They managed to really win that backline fight. The Hydra Splatling does get outranged and totally shut down by that E-Leader. I didn't really see the Hydra Splatling doing much of anything on the side of Distortion there. A lot of the time, they were just 3 down, and Wavebreaker, they didn't have an answer in the first game, but they knew exactly what they needed to do in order to counter that double Dapple Dualies comp coming out from Distortion.
Indeed, indeed. I mean, I'm confident, and like I see the Hydra, I'm like, that's a scary threat. But yeah, no, as long as you're on top of it, as long as you kind of lock them down, it's a little bit harder to charge up and get going compared to something like an E-Leader. So it just wasn't able to keep up at that pace because of just... Yeah, no, like you said, they also were on top of the dually pressure, so there was just a lot of room for their weapons to kind of push through. Wavebreaker was able to just like stay on top of that Hydra and everything else, and managed to be able to push through with a really clean knockout end point.
Yeah, but now as we move to Game 3, Clam Blitz, this one is likely going to take a little longer than either of those first 2 games, both of which were very, very strong performances that led to a relatively quick knockout. And so here in Clam Blitz, here on Game 3, we're going to see which of these teams can hold on for a longer, more drawn-out battle throughout this map, throughout both teams' plats, if both teams are able to manage pushes. We'll see how a longer game fares for each of these teams.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is one of the harder Clam Blitz stages to be able to like break into the net, right?
Yeah, in terms of the ones we see in competitive Splatoon, this is one of the more easy to defend, harder to score on ones, but there are some things that do give a little bit of an advantage or a little bit of generosity to the attacking team, especially that block down in mid that allows you to sneak in and get to the basket. I wonder if we'll see those Dapple Dualies going for it, but now that Shot and Junior coming out from the side of Wavebreaker will continue to have that big bubbler and Trizuka each. And so Wavebreaker are putting down more paint in mid here, but with players already onto Wavebreaker's plat, Distortion win that early fight and are going to start collecting clams here to try and make an early first push.
The thing is, too, is you can use that platform without even having a power climb. You could just use it to Shark, as we've seen Distortion very effectively do for that opening, where they just rushed in, took everybody out, created that opening. We are going to be able to push a little bit further. We even get a wipeout in Distortion's favor as they are continuing to chip away. We set up the Wavebreaker against Wavebreaker as they continue to try to just score as many points as possible. Are they going to be able to get to the halfway point? They do! They get past it!
Yeah, and although there are 2 down now, Distortion still continuing to put more clams in. It looks like this might be the end of the push unless they can get a jump maybe to one of their beacons to score more points, but still there, diving in from the block, I believe, is that Vanilla Dapple Dualies on the side of Distortion and able to keep scoring. They're down to 23 remaining, and there's some clams there they pick up but get taken out there, and that's where the push ends. 23 remaining. Wavebreaker in a bit of a hole here as Distortion got such a strong early push and are already looking to try and score some more. Wavebreaker are able to secure their plat and look into mid to take the fight there, but Distortion continuing to put the pressure on even as they go down a little bit.
I don't know who that player is on the team, but Drew Town, the duelist that was like, while they were trying to recover, just went into Wavebreaker's base and was just picking people off, giving them a moment just to get those few extra points. Just absolutely devastating. We see a nice Kraken to be able to push forward, but unfortunately still stuck in the enemy's turf. That is an E-leader that is in need of some, or I don't know what reference joke I'm trying to make here, but it didn't work out.
Yeah, but still, Distortion able to get some picks onto Wavebreaker, but still going 2 down on their own. They don't need to score any more points, but they just, all they need to do is just hold on to this lead, but of course they're going to want to keep scoring. They're going to want to keep preventing Wavebreaker from pushing in, winning those fights, getting those picks as we see 2 going down. That's 3 down as they get that clean 2 versus 1 situation. They've got a reslider ready to go. They're holding on to only 6 clams, making that ball there. There is that Vanilla Dapple Dualies looking to score the ball that they are holding on to now. Still got a reef slider ready to go, and there it's coming up, but it gets canceled. The ball goes in, but all that does is get rid of 20 of their 38 penalty points. And now with 3 down on the side of Wavebreaker, Distortion still can't make it back in time to continue making that push.
The Slosher with the Zipcaster just causing pure chaos over there. Just like throwing out Slosh after, like, wasn't even attack. He was just keeping them distracted as they stayed just an impossible target to hit. We've got another power climb. We are going to break through. This isn't going to break through the penalty just yet. Wavebreaker's power climb is going to get destroyed while they're trying to just defend their base.
Yeah, they do pick up that petty clam and let a new one spawn, but Distortion still holding down that space in mid. Even as they go 1 down, 2 down, they still have that Charger and that Slosher holding the fort, holding onto that defense and that offense too, as they just keep on scoring and scoring and scoring here. They have enough to make another power clam. They're down to 1 point remaining. All they need is 1 left. They're holding onto a clam. There's that Zipcaster coming out. They won't be able to score it while they're in zip form, but now here, diving in and looking for one final clam to score. That ends the game, putting it in Distortion's column.
Very nice little poke there. Dualies are so good at, much like an ink brush, Dualies are really good at just zipping through an enemy's line, an enemy's turf, and just sneaking their way in to get a quick, cheeky hit like that. Managing to get just that one little hit, really well aimed. It's not easy to get a power climb in from all the way across the field like that. And we're seeing here, like, really good Kraken, but just locked in because of so much pressure from the opposing team that they just did not have any turf to paint.
Yeah. not much turf to paint at all. And so Distortion just consistently able to get through that with like the stronghold in mid, able to keep the pressure on, able to win those fights and just make it through a somewhat longer game there. It didn't go the full time as we will often see on Museum Clams, but Distortion were able to make multiple pushes repeatedly and just hold on, even though they were sacrificing their lives and their positions for a few of those pushes, especially from that E-leader just diving in to get one power clam at a time into the basket. They didn't really need to survive if they were able to just come back in and get those jumps in.
Yeah, no, I think... Oh, no, that was a different team. But yeah, no, they were able to kind of keep up a lot of that pressure. Just, Wavebreaker, yeah, literally did not gain a single point there. They were always on the back heel, stuck in their base, constantly scrambling. I don't even think they got too many of their specials out. We saw one every once in a while, but they never had enough control to really be able to push outwards. And a lot of that was because of the dualies. That Dapple dually that was just charging into the enemy base, getting these pot shots where situations where like the E-leader would have felt like it was nice and safe, but wasn't.
Yeah, but now as we are going to Robo Ramen, back to zones. We are doing zones before we see a Rainmaker game here, and we'll be getting right into it. I figure Distortion are probably going to bring their double Dapple dualies comp once again, and we'll see what oh, okay. Switching, so they do keep those double Dapples, but that third weapon, they have the two Dapples, the backline, who is once again on leader, and then M, who is bringing out the Squiffer for this game. Interesting choice, bringing out that big bubbler, and Wavebreaker continuing to go with a comp that they are familiar with, and that does allow Wavebreaker to get that first control of the zone.
Wavebreaker currently on the back heel. They need this point and the next one to be able to advance to the winter finals. So they desperately want to hold this ground, quickly chug through these points as quick as possible. But, I mean, we've seen up to this point, Distortion is not a team you can take lightly, as they are going to be able to push back, covering all this ground, and they are going to quickly be charging through. They are currently smothering out Wavebreaker's base. The Kraken very nicely able to push down both of these two aggressive weapons.
Yeah, but the Kraken doesn't actually get anything for that pressure. They tried to chase them down, but there was so much paint on the ground for Distortion that those two players were able to just give a little bit of space and hold that space from the Kraken, and now that allows Distortion to take and hold on to the lead here. Horsch bringing that Reef Slider into the zone. It gets canceled. Not really canceled per se, but punished, I should say, at the end. And now Distortion are going to be looking to make another strong knockout here. Not a shutout like before, but still this time having those players really putting that pressure on. But the Squiffer does go down, and there's that Kraken in the zone looking to paint, though. But with that Junior going down as well, that'll be a huge amount of paint that Wavebreaker no longer have. And as the timer ticks down, that's a knockout, bringing this set to go to Distortion.
Wavebreaker had a couple of nice pushes that I feel for that push with the Reef Slider, where they're just rush in. They're like, all right, here's the opportunity, guys. And they just didn't have anybody else around, and you saw, like, you could feel the pain, the sadness in them as they slide right in, cause that contention, and then just got sniped right in the head by an E-leader, and they're immediately out. And it's just like that feels like that was the point where the game was just over. They no longer had that opportunity to kind of push.
Yeah, Wavebreaker, they did get some of those early points on, but once Distortion had the zone, once they started scoring, they just would not stop, and that was all that they needed. They What I noticed that they were doing, they really used the skirmishing power of the dualies, the Dapple dualies, and the Squiffer well, just delaying as much as they could, and actually able to win some of those fights against Wavebreaker. Not just delaying them by making them pay attention to the Dapples, delaying them by actually splatting them and just giving Distortion so much more time and control of the zone.
Indeed. Good lesson to everybody: do not underestimate the dualies. They are to be feared, especially the Dapples.
Yeah, and with that, that's going to be it for us, for you and me from this stream. We'll be continuing shortly with a new set of commentators, but where can the people at home find you?
Probably in my home moping. But if you want to find me online, you can find me at Malieve on Blue Sky. If you want to look for me elsewhere, you can probably find me by searching Planet Scrapstar, and it'll just lead you to something relevant to me. What about you?
Yeah, I do still have a presence on X, where I am Squidoku_, but I am more active now on Blue Sky, where I am squidoku.bsky.social. And I'm also on the Fediverse, where I am on splatsville.social at Squidoku.
And I personally want to take a moment to shout out Jorian. Phenomenal streaming being done by them right now. But yeah, we'll be right back. We got winners finals coming up. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon.
Welcome back to Prism Break number 8. My name is Rocket here, joined by Topic. And Topic, we have a powerhouse matchup here, our 1 and 2 seeds going at it in our winner brackets finals.
Ooh, okay, I see, usually a grand finals setup, but it starts in the winners bracket. We're gonna have Distortion versus Triggerfish, Zones Supremacy, and one of the most interesting map modes in Splatoon 2, one of the best up to interpretation.
Yeah, for sure. If you really want to take a look at these team names, you kind of want to favor Triggerfish Zones, because I mean it's just built into their team name. I mean you kind of have to have the advantage, and if you want to name yourself like that, I'm pretty sure there's a good reason for it. So definitely be on the lookout for them to be dominant in this. However, Distortion are our #1 seed for a reason. I've seen their name float around several times. I don't quite recall, but I know they've won several tournaments off of this, and yeah, they're our #1 seed for a reason, so it's definitely going to be really fascinating to see what they run. And like you mentioned, Barnacle and Dime is a really interesting map to start on.
Yeah, I think, well, of course, it is the Tetris piece of all time. It does leave the streets very wide open. It does have that little drop area next to Snipe. So I think this map, despite it being kind of linear in a sense, not, you know what I mean? It's like kind of linear. Like the way you attack it is are going to be very, very similar between games. But I just think the way that teams can log up each other's out is going to be really, really interesting.
Yeah, and we're definitely jumping straight into things. A really aggressive look there. I think I see a Carbon and a Charcoal Decapitator. Already a really upfront and aggressive comp that's really balanced out by the E leader that Dawn is running there. I believe that, yes, that is Distortion there. And on the other side, you see an Explosher, which I like a lot, which normally sometimes normally players would pick Bloblobber for the type of inking ability that you'd bring on this map, considering how flat it is, but I like the pick of the Explosher there, especially with that triple splashdown going out, not being able to find a pick from it, and will get taken down. Distortion already off to a great start.
I mean, if you look at Triggerfish Zone Supremacy's comp, they really need that Explosion because that's like their real sense of range, because they have 3 short-range weapons, and their comp in general is super paint-heavy. Explosion paints a lot. Junior is the paint weapon of all time. You have the Brush, which can, while less of a painter, can still just put out so much more paint than expected, and so far a huge fight in zone. It looks like it's just going blow for blow in zone, and so far Distortion's gonna hold on, getting into 69 with a nice score there, and they might be able to hold on a little bit here.
Yeah, the picks going back and forth. Dawn there with a beautiful shot onto that last member of Trigger Zone Supremacy to take back the point for Distortion, and now although they have only 2 players, make that 1 player left in the mid there. Trigger Zone Supremacy striking back with a dominating force, just really trying to put that E-leader out of position and force them back. However, that E-leader is such a great presence there, and already members of Trigger's Fish Zones are flopping left, right, and center. Distortion now already in, and just the oppressiveness that the E-leader has and the presence that has to be respected. Trigger Zone Supremacy has trouble just getting in.
I mean, yeah, the E-leader has to be respected, but shout out to M there on the Carbon, I believe getting a triple kill in the bubble to get the push started, and then getting the last one with the jump, getting Distortion up so far, as the score is going down to 35-34. Triggerfish Zones has the opportunity to try to get to zone here. 2 down is what you're looking for, 3 down, only the E-leader left, and just like that, with no real pushback from Distortion, Triggerfish Zones, the premise is going to take over.
Yeah, I want to mention that Triggerfish Zones aren't running cooler here, which is something I've seen a lot more recently, and it doesn't seem to be affecting them as much here, as they're already able to at least take it down near their own 50-point mark, and points can start going fast here, especially since they don't have a penalty to worry about. Meanwhile, Distortion has to worry about getting onto the zone eventually, or else they could potentially get the lead flipped here. Pepe just trying to snipe that inkjet out of the air, not quite finding his target, but at least scaring it away. And just like that, Trigger Zone Supremacy are already in the lead now and dangerously close toward the knockout.
I mean, yeah, they have the Junior in place, they have the Expo in place, it's just up to Distortion to break through. They're trying to, the Decap's gonna get 1 in zone, but not enough paint's gonna go down. The Zap, I believe, the Zap and the Decap and the Carbon just takes it at the absolute last second for Distortion. Clutch.
Yeah, and that's pretty much sums up what that was. And if they can pull this out, then it would be quite a clutch indeed. That Decav gets camped out, and with one player down, Distortion needs to hold on to this for dear life, because this is really their big opportunity to really bring back in this. Two players go down. Point is flipped in favor of Trigger Zone Supremacy, but they do have quite a penalty to go through. But with the wipeout, that will help out a ton, as now with a minute 15 seconds left, not much time left to be had here. The Carbon on the left side trying to cause damage. We'll find a trade on the left side here, but the point total is just going down, down, down further. Distortion only have a minute left to work with here.
Yeah, they only have a minute left to work with. Distortion's gonna take over zone relatively easily, and now they're gonna try to push back Triggerfish zones. But so far the game has been very back and forth. So if you're Distortion right now, the main matchup you're looking for is that E-Leader versus Expo, because E-Leader can just take out the Expo in one shot, and with the Expo gone, it does take away a lot of the pushing power that Triggerfish zones has. Flashdown's gonna go off, not a whole lot to go. Distortion trying to hold on. The Expo, the Junior, just painting over. It's not gonna work. A double kill Smork there, trying to paint up the zone with the bombs of the Junior. It's not gonna work. And Distortion showing why they're the #1 seed, showing off their resilience, and will take game 1 in a nail biter.
This is going to be a just a show for sure, because of just how back and forth that was. Like, Triggerfish zones seemed like they were just going out for the killing blow, but just luckily enough, Distortion were able to jump onto the point at the very last second, forcing them to obtain a very large penalty with only 1 point left to had, and they really never looked back, as it was just back and forth, back and forth. Either team were just just barely just so close to really getting that win. Like, it was basically seconds.
I mean, yeah, they couldn't afford to look back, because if they did, that zone would have been gone. And we do see a little bit of M there in the middle, just getting a nice triple kill to really kick off Distortion's really good hold. But yeah, both teams just really, it was really competitive. That's the best way to put it. It was really competitive, really back and forth. Really, either team could have won. It was that Distortion just managed to hold out to the very last second in taking the first game. But let's see if anything changes as we go to our second game mode, Rainmaker Scorch.
Yeah, this is under the assumption, I'm making these predictions under the assumptions that no weapons change, but what Distortion brought on that previous game is really beneficial on this one, especially on this map, especially because of such the aggressive play that you have from the Charcoal Decapitator, from the Carbon. It is so much in your face, and the E-Leader, like I mentioned, like, just to balance it out, because you have, with the Charcoal Decapitator, you have the capability of converting it into more long range as well with the jetpack. But if you take a look at what Triggerfish zones run, I like the idea of running the Junior right back again, because normally Barnacle and Dime isn't really its strength here, but on a map like Scorched Gorge, that would be your strength there, just specifically because of how narrow the choke points are.
Yeah, and to add on to that, also the bombs, right? It's Rainmaker. You're gonna use the bombs to pop the Rainmaker barrier relatively easily, and plus for the rest of their comp, I believe they ran the vanilla ink brush. Am I correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, so you have the vanilla ink brush with its bombs, the Junior, and you have the V-shots. Just, you have a lot of bomb pressure on the Rainmaker, and it looks like you were right. No weapons are gonna change. Both teams feel comfortable with what they got. Let's see. Actually, no, never mind. Actually a small change. Dawn there went from the E-Leader to the Vacuum Charger, so may see a little bit of vac cheese if push comes to shove.
I like that idea a lot. I see the vision there, and like you mentioned, that vac is going to be so crucial into pushing in. Basically, both teams have a special on either side that can really create space. You have that Junior with the bubble who actually has it already. Smork already has bubble available for any Triggerfish zone push. However, that does not seem to be the case, as they will be the last player standing there, having to place it defensively, and just like that, it will be a delayed wipeout in favor of Distortion, and already off to an early push here. 45 seconds have passed, and yet they've already gotten the first check.
Yeah, but they gotta be really worried because if they push up a bit too far, they got the Explo with the splashdown. Thankfully for Vapor, didn't have to pop the splashdown just yet, but the decaf causing so much damage in the court, just getting, I believe, 2 there on Distortion. A nice kill there for the Explo, and so far, Triggerfish Jones doing a really good job of keeping the members of Distortion out of their base. The cooler is gone, the cooler for Distortion is gone, so they have an opportunity to get a couple more points going. They're gonna try to run it, but unfortunately, the killer whale is gonna do its thing and track down the Rainmaker.
I believe that killer whale was just tracked onto the other player that was in front of them, Pepe, the shot, in just a very, very unlucky positioning for that, which allowed the Rainmaker to just get deleted off of the face of the map. But now, back to mid here, we are reset pretty much. A nice Zuka shot will take out that that charger, and ISO causing damage here, managing to find one, just managing to get the Rainmaker as well, and they are just trying to look for an opportunity to push forward. However, not a lot of ink to work with here, as it is mostly blue on the side of the map. It is only left to them, ISO being very isolated themselves here. However, the rest of the team trying to get in. The Rainmaker does fall in the end of the vac popped as well, just to maintain the space, but flanked by the brush, and just like that, Triggerfish Zones crunch down on that defense and now have a brilliant opportunity to even things up.
I mean, you know what? That's what brushes do. They're known for being sneaky weapons. They got around the vac, making sure it couldn't do anything, and a quick reversal of circumstances for both. Actually, yeah, both teams have a brush. Hold on. I didn't realize that till just now. Both teams actually have a brush and switch from the brush to the carbon. And Triggerfish Zones are still going down to 48, getting the lead. So a very, very quick turn of events here.
We saw a triple kill from the carbon, but now we see a triple kill from the brush, just showing how adaptable they are. And Distortion are very happy and just letting this Rainmaker reset back to mid here as they try to maintain control of mid here. They do manage to find a pick onto the ink brush, however, losing their own ink brush in the process. They do go 2 players down now and will be forced back a little bit.
I mean, so far it's a very interesting situation. Pepe is gonna go down, Kraken's gonna go down, so Distortion looking really, really nice here. It looks like you see Dawn actually opting out to pick up the Rainmaker to try to use the vac to protect their team, but unfortunately the Rainmaker is gonna go down, so the vac not gonna be as useful or not gonna get as much value as you would like to. Actually, Dawn decides to back out, which is really, really smart, because now Triggerfish Zones, they're gonna try to get possibly some more points coming up.
Yeah, the Rainmaker isolated there, just has to take the plunge to really save any face. And now Distortion have control of the map here. Only around a minute left, but they don't have the lead here. They need to maintain a push here. However, the lead isn't that much. Only 10-point differential, so anything can happen here. It will come down to 1 or 2 very important team fights. The specials are available on the side of Triggerfish Zones. The Explosher and the Junior have them available for this counter, and the Rainmaker will go down there. Only the Carbon really left in position. However, quite a position they do have, as the rest of their team will jump in and try to flank the members of Triggerfish Zones here.
I mean, if you're Triggerfish Zones, the name of the game is letting that clock run. Dawn here, just trying to keep the Rainmaker from popping, and so far, Triggerfish Zones, they're just keeping most of map control. Look at this. Even though it's hard to, okay, well, never mind. I was gonna say they had control of mid for, I believe, most of that fight. So now Distortion's on their back foot. They have about 15 seconds left. Practicing to pick it up to try to at least stall out for a little bit longer. But now Distortion, you gotta get something going. That's a good start. 2 down, you have the jet at the ready, you have the cooler at the ready, you gotta watch out for any flanks, and you should be good to go.
Yeah, any mistake here can be cradle the vacuum in there to push it, and that will do it right there. The vacuum will be the winning factor in that, and now already up 2-0 in this series. Distortion looking for a surprising little sweep here.
I mean, we called it at the beginning of the game. We said, right? I believe you said it, that, hey, if they have a vacuum, they're probably going to use it to push forward pretty easily. And when they absolutely needed it, it worked out in their favor. But yeah, like you said, Distortion up 2-0, looking to make a clean 3-0 sweep. And you know what? They're looking pretty strong despite how close these games have been.
Yeah, like, you saw it earlier, we saw that replay of M really being able to deny any further push from Triggerfish zones by getting that clutch 3K, and here, paving the way as well as the vac you saw on the left there. M also just being able to take out that last Triggerfish zones player and being such an aggressive player that paves the way in for their team. Definitely a player to keep your eye on, and definitely a player Triggerfish zones need a counter. But moving away from that, we will be moving to game number 3 here, Clam Blitz on Inkblot Art Academy. And similar to how we saw the specials used on Scourge Gorge Rainmaker, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw yet again the Junior and yet again the Splat Charger.
Yeah, I could see that. Also, I think the brush, both brushes stay. I don't know. I think M can go Carbon here and still be really effective because Carbon's good at circling the ledges. I think the Explode stays because Explode's really good is good on Inkblot in general. Just have to splash down, just cover the entire enemy plat or retake your plat in case the enemy pushes. So I could realistically see both teams sticking with what they got because what they had works on this map.
Yeah, let's see if that reigns true here. Same comp coming out from Distortion. Let's see if it's the same for the other side here. Yep, both teams sticking with their same weapons here. Really just sticking to their strengths here. Distortion are up 2-0, remember, in this series, and one more will end things, and Triggerfish zones just have to take these one things at a time. A great initial pick, though, from Distortion. Another one to be had, and already a great presence. Distortion is already going straight in for the push, and they will manage to at least find the barrier, but Triggerfish zones will rally and make sure that push will go no further, but this is dangerous. Now, look at the amount of clams already near the goal here. This could be proving huge as a potential counterattack.
I mean, it would be huge. Pepe gets one, Vapor jumps it in. We are, despite Clam Blitz being one of the slower maps to get started, these teams are saying, hey, we're gonna just go all out, and so far it is working. Both teams breaking the basket. Distortion is already up at Triggerfish zone's basket. We don't have time to talk about this because they're still going. Jesus, the Vac's gonna come out cracking, trying to go for it. It's gonna get one. Dips away from M on the other brush. Comes back for the flank. It's not gonna work. And Distortion's gonna go down to 46. It's been a minute, and there's been 3 basket breaks. That's a nice shot there.
Yeah, I was about to mention, it's barely been over a minute, and the scores are already near the halfway mark for both teams involved. Balls are just being formed, and the aggression from both sides is very evident here, as they are just going straight for the kill no matter what. And now, Triggerfish zones will at least maintain control of mid here. They will have this slight advantage for now, slight advantage in clams as well, and the shot does have Zuka available to really open up the defense that Distortion is trying to create here. The ball will be saved there by the Explo in preparation for a potential push here. However, Distortion, not willing to give up any ground, will pop cooler, and now both teams are really just trying to find an opening.
I mean, so far, Triggerfish zone's doing a good job of that, getting one down. Oh no, Smork is gonna get a kill on the Vac. The bubble on Plat's gonna work. Nice double kill there by the decap. Nice triple kill to keep the defense alive. And so far, Triggerfish zone's only gonna get down to 40. So Distortion has an opportunity here to get a counter push going, but Triggerfish zones are keeping their foot on the gas. They have 16 clams plus the pity, so they can keep the scoring going.
Yeah, Pepe Zuka will get shut down there. The defensive vac will be popped here by Dawn, just trying to make sure that their team can totally defend this, but the ball will be thrown in. The penalty points are now away for Triggerfish zone. However, there will not be any follow-up because the great use of the charcoal decapitator in the background there will keep the other members of Triggerfish zones occupied, and we're just seeing some Fruit Ninja gameplay here from that carbon roller. But now Distortion with the basket open, the ball will get denied, so no more clams to be had here, and the lead will stay into Triggerfish zone's side, at least temporarily. What a clutch defense there. Another great shot from Don. This Charger is something to be respected here, Topic.
I mean, yeah, like, Charger is Dawn is showing why Charger is so strong, just ability to eliminate anybody from a long ways away, and so far Distortion's keeping this up. M here doing what brushes do. ISO's gonna get onto Plat and score again, taking the lead for Distortion. Distortion's gonna keep on going. M trying to go in's not gonna work. The back shot's not gonna find any picks, and Dawn is forced to back away, gets Pepe. Vapor is gonna go down. Kraken stays alive, and Distortion, despite scoring, is gonna look super strong. Smork on the flanks, not gonna get anything. The ball's gonna go away, and Distortion has all of mid painted with less than a minute to go.
Ely there, you saw Dawn managing to take down both ball carriers of Triggerfish zones and pretty much ending that push dead in the water by themselves, and now looking to just go straight for the knockout blow here, already opening up the goal again. But Triggerfish zones are not willing to let this going lightly here. Pepe really being the only defender in area, just waiting for their team to rally around them. The ball, the Pity Clam will be picked up here clearly by the Exploiter, but taken down. Only left to the Ink Brush here. The goal very much unguarded here. 20 seconds left here. Triggerfish zones really only have overtime to work with here if they want to keep this alive.
I mean, you gotta look at what their clams that they got. They got the power clam, they got more clams spawning, and they have the pity clam to really cause some damage. M on the flank though is gonna get one. Two are gonna go down for Triggerfish zones. The decap is just gonna be there. ISO's gonna score, and Distortion will take game number 3, take the set 3-0. And you know, Clam Blitz, I would like to say, it's like a chess game, right? You have to be very careful. You have to make sure you have enough resources allocated to different areas. But these guys just played speed chess. They were like, no, let's get this over with.
I like to think it's either speed chess or they basically just threw the freaking chess pieces at each other, because holy crap, that was probably the most fastest pace and back and forward Clam Blitz match I have ever seen. I have never seen a match where both teams just constantly were simultaneously the aggressors and defenders within a matter of, I don't know, like 10 seconds at most. Like, it just swept sides both left and right, but Distortion ultimately coming out on top. Triggerfish zones will be knocked down here, but they showed one hell of a fight. Obviously, the set score does not show how close the series was, but it was damn close in every single match.
I mean, yeah, the first game, Triggerfish zones got it down to 1, just losing at the last second. In the second game, they got it down to 58, I believe, and then they got it down to 48, and then the vac from Dawn saved Distortion by getting them an easy way through. And then that last game, it was just back and forth, like they're playing tug of war. And unfortunately for Triggerfish zones, Distortion just had that little bit of strength left in them. I think what really did it was the flank by M there at the end. I believe they got a double kill, which kind of hindered all of Triggerfish zone supremacy's clam economy and pushing power. So like you said, close games, close set, despite the score.
Yeah, GG's to Triggerfish zones. We have an opportunity to see them here again in Grand Finals, because they still have one opportunity left, and that is in the losers bracket. But before we head to that, we will be taking a very short break in Prism Break number 8, so don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
better be wise when choosing battles, mostly babbles. You know one of those big time shady footballs they will fight for. Drop these balls in my sleep, few more tricks up my sleeve. Wait till late for you to live loud. Get ready.
Disturbing the peace. Look into my eyes. Now tell me the things you were laughing about behind my back. The tenacity I hold is hard to break down. It's late for apologies. It's going down.
You're thirsty for blood, actually craving for love. What you want is the greed makes you go numb. Purposefully blocking good thoughts. Ain't please not to doctors. About to be that patient, cause I'm about to knock him out cold. Bring him back, beat. Whole lot of moves I make you on your like dance floor. Enjoying this beat down and probably wish that you could fast forward. Don't you worry about it, say some roofing last words. After do this, do that, and the third.
Disturbing the peace. Look into my eyes. Now tell me the things you were laughing about behind my back. The tenacity I hold is hard to break down. It's late for apologies. It's starting. Some things may break me, but always get back up. New perspective gain from all the pain and stress. And when I do come back, I'm stronger than ever before. So kneel down, disturbing the peace. Look into my eyes. Now tell me the things you were laughing about behind my back. The tenacity I hold is hard 抜けた夜を儚くたゆたう世界を君の手で守ったから今はただ翼を畳んでゆっくり眠りなさい永遠の安らぎに包まれて Love through all eternity 優しく見守る私のこの手で眠りなさい笑ってた泣いてた怒ってた君のこと覚えている忘れないいつまでも決して Until my life is exhausted
'Hello everyone, we are back with Prism Break 8 a bit earlier than expected. I am Topic, joined by Rocket, and we have a bit of an interesting discussion before our next round begins. Which persona is best?
Yeah, it is a really good question here. I'll be honest here, I haven't played Persona 4, crucify me, yes I know. But I've only done Persona 3, Reload, Gold, Royal, Strikers, and I haven't finished the Tactica yet. So there's a lot of good choices here, but I'm gonna get slack for this. I might be biased, but I don't know, I've seen the Persona 5 cast so much that I kind of just like Royal a lot, because that's where I started.
I mean, I like Persona 5 as well. I think Persona 5 Royal is definitely the biggest one out there. You know, three Reload. It's pretty. I haven't finished it yet. It's pretty good. Now, I did play 4. I'm playing 4 right now. I'm a little more than halfway through, and out of the three out of the big 3 personas, 3 Reload, 4 Golden, and 5 Royal, It's
Mhm.
definitely the worst one. Now, saying it's
Uh,
not saying it's the worst one, I'm saying it's a bad game. All I'm saying out of those, like those are upper tier echelon games, right? Those are like your 10 out of 10 games. So being
Right.
like a 9.5 out of 10, that's still good. It's still great. It's just not as good as the others. Now, you want to talk about the Persona 1 and 2, which I have played. Those are very different, but they are some of the darker stories in Persona.
Mhm.
So those are pretty good. They're a bit older, but they're a lot closer to SMT, but they're still pretty good games.
Yeah, in terms of gameplay, really the one that stuck out for me, obviously, is like Strikers. Just the difference in Persona 5 Strikers of kind of like a beat 'em up game. I see someone mentioning the P5 dancing game. Yes, we talk about the Persona 5 dancing game. I have had the fortune to play a little bit of it. It is unironically kind of fun, but yeah, I like Strikers a lot just because of the unique play. I haven't gotten through Tactica entirely because it's just unique in itself. It's kind of like you're just playing chess, honestly. It reminds me of like
have you?
that
have
Mario
you-
and Rabbids game.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I was gonna say that. It's just like that. I love the Mario Rabbids game. So I'm playing Tactica. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I just haven't gotten through it. I have a really bad habit of just like starting single player games. Like, all right, I'll get back to it when I can. But when I
And then-
do actually play it, I like completely speedrun the entire thing in like one sitting or something. Just like full marathon-esque of it. But yeah, yeah, I really need a. I'm gonna play like Persona 3 Reloaded again. I think that it, not to like we haven't talked much about it, but like, man,
It's
yeah,
such a good game.
but yeah, like you meant, I'm gonna take your word for like how Persona 4 like it can't really compete with like two juggernauts of games, but like I don't know. Does it like maybe the unique characters don't hit it as hard, or
You know, there are some stinkers in every Persona game.
Yeah.
What's his name? Noizumi in 3 kind of sucks. What's the kid's name in 5 that's like makes the Phantom Thieves website? Mishima. He's kind of mid. So yeah, Persona 4 also has some of their stinkers, but they have a lot of good characters. I think they have like a lot of good characters as well. So I think
Yeah.
it's just like finding that balance. And also, the one thing I can't stand about Persona 3 and Persona 4, the randomized dungeons. I hate them. I hate them with a burning passion because I played Persona 5 was my first Persona game. So going from like these elegantly designed dungeons for each single character to just like room number 1, room number 2, room number 3. Hey, this one has a chest on it. It just like, ew.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. But in terms, like, to bring up your point earlier about the characters, oh, we have a match. Oh, okay. Well, Persona aside, yeah, but what I was saying before we get into this between Assault and Pepper in Yellowstone National Park, I love Assault and Pepper as a name, by the way. But in terms of characters, I think like the best introduction of characters has to be in Strikers. Like, maybe I should just pick Strikers as my favorite because of how much I'm talking about it. Of like, I love Zenkechi and Sophia so much as like characters, their development, their backstories, and all that stuff. But enough Persona talk. We're back with Splatoon. Hello, everyone. We are back with Prism Break number 8 here, and we have quite the matchup here between Assault and Pepper in Yellowstone National Park. We are in losers semifinals, best of 3 now, so it's a shorter set, but definitely a very important one as no more mistakes can be made here. Map 1 will be Hagglefish Market Zones.
I mean, if you've been on Prison Break before that I've been here, I will say the same things about this. It's the vanilla bean map of the game. It's just like there. It's the salt and pepper. Kind of nice there. A salt and pepper. Anyways, it's just like the most basic map in the game, or map mode in the game, and I think that is useful for getting both of these teams adjusted to each other, getting adjusted to the game, getting adjusted to the setting. But overall, I just think this map is a little too basic for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and jumping straight into things, interesting pick from Virus having the crab edit here. I think I love that pick a lot because of the amount of paint power that you have on such a map as Zones, and I think it's going to be a very good counter, or at least attempted counter, against Chino on the pencil there, with the amount of just making sure that pencil doesn't have free reign of mid here and really allowing their team to push in. And we're already seeing it right here, the crab combination with the wall as well.
I mean, yeah, the crab just kind of not shuts down the pencil, but makes it a lot harder to move as Siren trying to go for a flank there, popping the bubble in a very aggressive spot. Unfortunately, he's going to go down. And Assault and Pepper, just like that, is going to take control of zone. Virus is going to go down. Skep is going to go down as well. So Assault and Pepper has an opportunity here in a very dangerous spot for Yellowstone National Park, as if pencil gets set up, it's very hard to get anything going.
Yeah, 100%, but we see Virus here just trying to create some space for the rest of their team and for the rest of them to really move in here. However, a very strong defense that is set up facing them. Assault and Pepper are just built straight in and hunkering down, really have no reason to take the fight to them and just waiting for Yellowstone National Park to really just force the issue here, as we see the wall being popped here, but 20 seconds left, and the crab as well. This combination seems to just be their bread and butter, what they need to get in, but the counter strikes are out here to deny some space, and 20 ticks left here for Assault and Pepper to potentially go for the knockout.
I mean, but you got pencil, you gotta worry about that. The weapon just paints forever, and just like that, Assault and Pepper will take control of zone for another 5 ticks. Yellowstone National Park, though, fighting with everything they got. Virus pops the crab to try to clear out some space. It's gonna work out, but not enough. The screen's gonna come out, and it took about 20 seconds of just pure fighting, but Yellowstone National Park will get it. Siren on a flank's gonna get one and possibly stop Yellowstone National Park from getting any further.
Yeah, a very much needed capture of the point, as now a massive penalty will be had onto Assault and Pepper, but we know Splatoon 3, things can change on its dime here, and without any penalty points, things can change really fast if Yellowstone National Park can muster a strong defense just like Assault and Pepper did here. Virus will be the key to that, but they will get shut down by Chino. Their great shot, Cool over there on the side trying to even things up, but will get taken down by members of Assault and Pepper. Just like that, the mid is in control of Assault and Pepper yet again, and Cooler to their backs as well. A very strong hold is coming, especially with that Junior having bubble.
I mean, there it is, a very aggressive bubble. Soren using that to their advantage, just pushing up with it, getting a nice double kill, and basically canceling out Yellowstone National Park's full Cooler, is making sure they can't really use it to their advantage. Assault and Pepper holding on. Yellowstone trying to push forward. The screen to the system is a bit too far back, and Assault and Pepper with the GG strikes is gonna win game number 1.
Yeah, we saw the strong defense that Assault and Pepper had, and that was the key to them winning there. They really only had to retake the point once because for sure, they were able to bend but not break, and that was the key to them winning that with such a strong hold, with having that pencil and Junior being able to take up so much space that really Yellowstone National Park had trouble dealing with at times. And now we are looking at game number 2, Scourge Gorge Clam Blitz here. Again, I always have to mention this, but those specials are key to this push. These pushes will be probably the crab on the side of Virus, and probably I believe the Decavitator and the Junior on each respective side. So yeah, Battle of the Bubbles for sure will be my prediction for Scourge Gorge.
I mean, I could see the weapons base are not really changing a whole lot, because a lot of the weapons they had in game 1 can work on here well. I think screen will be slightly more effective, about even, because you can screen the basket and like make sure no one can come from behind it. But if you're Yellowstone National Park, you gotta move the pencil. I think they did a decent job of that in game number 1. But for this game, they had to make the effects more permanent. They had to make sure that the pencil cannot just be like, oh, I'm gonna move to the left 4 steps, and then I'm gonna move back 4 steps. So you have to make sure that pencil is like moved permanently, because the pencil did its job. It stayed back, it painted, it provided cooler. It just did a whole lot that was necessary for the win.
Yeah, I think this map and mode specifically will allow Yellowstone National Park to better contest that pencil, as there's more space really to work with here, because on zones you really only have about half the map if you are, or even less if you are not the ones in control of zone. However, if you're on Clam Blitz, really things could change really fast, and you are able to basically operate on about 75% of the map realistically. But going into game number 2, Yellowstone National Park trying to stay in it. Weapon comps remain mostly the same. We see a Forge Pro, which is a very interesting choice indeed. Not something you see often, but most likely for that Booyah Bomb to really open up and, like we were talking about earlier, potentially disrupt Chino on that pencil.
Well, see, the Forge, it had its glory days in Splatoon 2 with the bubble blower, but now it's still a pretty good weapon, kind of underutilized because it is kind of outclassed in respects. It's not really seen as often, doesn't paint as well, but it can be used really effectively. And so far, Yellowstone is going to use that cool with the one shot. It's going to go down, unfortunately, but that one kill, look how far up Yellowstone's pushing. That confidence with the cooler just allowed them to get a whole lot further. It's cool. Jumps right back in with a double kill. The bubble fight is gonna work. A triple kill to get this started. The Booyah Bomb's gonna come out. Virus is gonna go down. And might see some quick scoring out here from Yellowstone National Park.
Yeah, the quick scoring indeed. However, not a lot of follow-up to be had, because the members of Assault and Pepper are able to rally to the defense of their teams and really allow them to make sure that push goes no further. Cole Shark is found out by a really nice kill from the bucket there, and really good use of it as well. We're continuing to try to cause damage. We'll find another pick. That is Virus on that bucket there, and we see the Pro trying to put in some work as well, being pressured off of mid from that. And look at the clam economy for Assault and Pepper. They were able to really collect themselves pretty effectively and now have potential to open things up.
Oh, that's a good start. Soren getting a double kill with a single Zuka, and now the cooler is going to be used for Yellowstone National Park to kind of curb anything that's going to happen. But Chino here, a very dangerous spot, because it can kind of just snipe anybody trying to go up to that snipe area, trying to snipe anyone going on the backside of Plat, anyone trying to go and try to defend. It's gonna be very, very hard. Pro's gonna go down. Just a huge fight on that ramp. Siren looking for a pick here is not gonna work, but with a bubble at the ready, that'd be very, very useful for getting themselves in. We do see another bubble fight, but unfortunately for Cole, they're gonna stand right under the bridge and give them the small bubble, which is gonna get destroyed almost right away.
Yeah, I just see the Spider-Man meme of them just pointing at each other every time I see it. It's either that or the bubbles intertwined, kind of like a Venn diagram. It is the battle of the bubbles for sure. And with actually half the match left here, Assault and Pepper haven't actually been able to crack through a push. However, I could easily commentators curse it, as I am right now, as 3 members of Yellowstone National Park do fall. And just like that, the lead is taken with a very quick vengeance there. I should really just keep my mouth shut, as these teams are just going in right here. Assault and Pepper looking straight for the knockout here. Look, already down to the 21-point mark there. Blink and you will miss it. AP Siren here trying to maybe extend that lead a little bit, chooses to run away with their life there, and really quick response, in the lead very much dominantly in Assault and Pepper's favor, just like that.
I mean, blink and you'll miss it, but here Yellowstone National Park, you might need some glasses, because that was super, super quick, how quickly Assault and Pepper just kind of blitzed right through them, getting it down to 15, and now they have 2 specials that they're ready. They're going to have a Crab and Cooler super, super soon, so a chance for a really big push. But the problem is they have very little clams. They're going to go 3 down, and just like that, Assault and Pepper is just are going to try to push forward. The bubble's going to come out, but the Forge is going to get 1, so we're kind of forced to go for a fight. It's going to get a nice double kill, and so if you're Assault and Pepper, you can just kind of hold back a little bit. You don't really have to put yourself in dangerous situations. 'Cause if you do, you're gonna give Yellowstone National Park the hope that they need to get a push started.
Yeah, but I feel like the aggression is going to ramp up here, especially since both teams have their coolers pop. Cool is in a great position for Yellowstone National Park to potentially push in here. However, Jeff is causing so much damage on the Slosher here, being able to just shut down the push from behind and maintain control of mid pretty much single-handedly, getting another pick there. They have the ball as well, and they will just try to get out with their life, and they will manage to escape as the rest of the members of Assault and Pepper are able to rally to their aid. 25 seconds left, and Assault and Pepper seem like they're just very content with just trying to go for the knockout blow. Will get shut down there by the pro, and 15 seconds left. Yellowstone National Park only have one last chance to push in, and that will be the Pity Clam.
I mean, there we go. Basket's broken. Jeff has a couple of clams. Chino has a couple of clams. Everyone has a couple of clams, so they have to go in right now. They're gonna score with overtime at the ready. They need one more clam. Chino going. Chino scoring, and just like that, Assault and Pepper with a really, really strong game number 2 will take the game, will take the set, and will move on to the losers finals.
Yeah, really well played there from Assault and Pepper. They played to their strengths, were able to rally together at that one vital push that really extended their point total by so much. We see it right here, 23 clams to their name, 2 balls in immediately, and the special follow-up is had there with the Zuka and the bubble. It was just so much space that Assault and Pepper were able to work with, and Yellowstone National Park had to respect that space, which allowed them to get so much time to be able to score. But yeah, GG's to Yellowstone National Park. Their run ends here, but Assault and Peppers is only beginning, because now they have to face on our number 2 seed Triggerfish Zone Supremacy in the losers bracket finals, and the only teams remaining in our tournament aren't really a surprise because they are our 1, 2, and 3 seeds respectively.
I mean, listen, we all love the underdog stories, right? Everyone loves when the little guy wins. We all love David and Goliath stories, but Goliath is Goliath for a reason. I believe in the story he was undefeated in fights. I'm not sure, but there is a reason why these teams get seeded so high. It's because they have the results, they have the experience, they have what it takes, and they have proven time and time and time again that they belong at the top, on the pedestal. And now it just becomes who's gonna take the crown, who's gonna take the gold.
Yeah, and we saw how dominant and how much Triggerfish Zone Supremacy were able to keep things close, obviously set score aside, with the number 1 seed in Distortion. So it's really going to be interesting to see how these both teams go against each other, because we see very different play styles of how they like to operate here, because we saw how Assault and Pepper like to really take these leads very quickly and really hold on. Meanwhile, Trigger Zone Supremacy, it is all about attack, counter attack, quick pace. So it's gonna be very interesting to see, I guess, a clashing of different paces of how these teams like to play is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like Assault and Pepper is that more calculated, that more chess gamey type of play style, and then you got Triggerfish Zone Supremacy. If I had to describe their play style, it'd be Kyle running through or drinking a monster and running straight through drywall. Because they want to be in your face and you have to respect it. Because if you don't, you can get ran over, and you don't want that to happen.
Yeah, 100%. And we are taking a look at our first map here, and it is Crab Lake Capital Zones, which usually we don't see as the opener map, but a very welcome addition here. Any thoughts on Crab Lake Capital?
On zones particularly, or just in general?
Really on zones, because normally we see Crab Lake Capital run on clams, but rarely in zones. I wonder what your thoughts are on this map being run on zones specifically, because normally you'd like to see You obviously have the ramp for Clam Blitz and being able to run in kind of similar to how Scourge Gorge would operate, but on zones, it brings a very different dimension, especially with their greats in mid.
It's very easy to get locked out, right? Because think about it. You are, in order to get to zone, you have to drop, right? And then to your base, there's that top right side, which the enemy can access very, very easily. You have the top right side, you have mid, and you have left. If you are Assault and Pepper, you have a longer range weapon, you can deal with the middle side. If you have your short range shooters go on the right side. So I think this map, especially on zones, it's very easy to get locked out. I'm sure you've experienced it as well. It's an uphill battle to just get to mid.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if both these teams usually stick to what they got on the side of Assault and Pepper. We see the same comp they've been running, and on the other side, Trigger Zone Supremacy, same thing. We're running the Junior, the Shot, the Brush, and the Explosion for range. Normally not usually run as the backline weapon, but that seems to be their key here. And still running Coolerless, I'd like to mention, but it's gotten them this far, so why change things? As now, Trigger Zone's Supremacy will manage to take the early lead here, however the specials are going out really quickly for Assault and Pepper to try and retake this. You see the Zuka, you saw the Cooler, you see the Bubble being popped all simultaneously pretty much, and then you see the fourth special being popped right there, the Tri-Strikes. But despite all those specials being popped, Triggerfish Zones responds with their own and are able to take a commanding and strong presence in mid there, and they will continue to mark down their points.
I mean, we saw it in winners finals. Their Triggerfish Zones comp is just we paint. You have the Nextflow, you have the Junior, you have the nice kill there. You got the Brush, which is gonna go down. But they just paint so well that you're gonna have to deal with at least 2 or 3 to even think about going to zone. And you know what? I think the commentator's curse is coming to me now, because the second I started talking about the Assault and Pepper just kind of blitzes right through them and is able to get lead and they already get lead, because there's no blue paint at all in mid.
Yeah, and Assault and Pepper still have their Tri-Strikes available to really counter this aggression we're seeing. Yep, there it is, right there to stall out and really create more space for the members of Assault and Pepper. But with both of their shooters down, the rest of Triggerfish Zones will be able to rally and paint over this with that such advantage there. Jeff being the last player alive for Assault and Pepper and will go down there. Now a little bit of a stagger being had by Triggerfish Zones. More members of Assault and Pepper being slain in the backline there. Now Triggerfish Zones will be out of their penalty point to continue to potentially just flip the lead here.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, because look at this. They have so much happening on Assault and Pepper's plat. The Zuka's gonna come out for Soren there. Now no one's gonna go down to the Triggerfish Zones. Is gonna be able to take lead, and now with 2 specials, 3 specials at the ready, Assault and Pepper has an opportunity to try to at least neutralize zone. They're gonna do it, but Triggerfish Zones just painted up super quickly. The Bubble not able to really do a whole lot, not able to break through the splashdown to say GG's, and that'll be it. Triggerfish Zones holds on and wins game number 1.
Very, very convincing win there, as they were able to make minimal mistakes and able to retake in such an effective way and really go against what Assault and Pepper's strengths were, which is being able to hold. They were able to crack that defense wide open and were able to operate where they pleased. But all things considered, Assault and Pepper put up a valiant effort in their own defense, because you see the great use of the Tri-Strikes, the simultaneous specials that they had, just not enough for this match. But switching gears, we are moving to game number 2, which is tower control on ship-shaped cargo. We haven't seen any blasters played at all, so I'm not expecting any blaster play here, but I'm interested to see the different uses of those Tri-Strikes, of these specials, as they have just been the key and driving force to a team's victory.
Yeah, and I think just tower in general kind of not works against, but kind of sways the the favorability away from Triggerfish zones because their comp is very, very paint heavy. As we saw, they could paint over zones relatively easily. So now if you're Assault and Pepper, I think you got to take advantage of not playing zones and see if you can really capitalize on this. But let's hop into the second game. No changes from either side, it believes. Yeah, no changes. So you know what? We know what to expect at this point. They're not changing. They feel comfortable.
Yeah, rolling with what you got here. Something interesting that I will mention about Triggerfish Zone Supremacy is Kraken Mare and Smort, the Inkbrush and Junior respectively. I think that could be a very deadly duo on the tower if they're able to set up the bubble and able to set up Kraken Mare in a great position to really do what they do best. And right off the bat, we're seeing a quick double kill. I believe that was from a well-placed bomb there by the Junior, but it will not stop the force that is Triggerfish Zone Supremacy, as we saw that bubble being popped by Smork and already going towards the first checkpoint.
I mean, yeah, but it looks like Salt and Pepper is doing everything they can to make sure the checkpoint doesn't break down. Smork doing a little bit of dancing around, trying to stay alive. It's not gonna work. Then they go 3 down a bomb, though. It's gonna be able to get at least go 4 for 1. But now Salt and Pepper has an opportunity here to get something going. Siren does have bubble at the ready to try to pop it on the checkpoint to get something, to get basically it for free. But so far, Triggerfish Zones, they're just playing some solid defense. Siren opts to use it more defensively to just jump out and stay alive, and almost like a flip of a switch, Triggerfish Zones, they're back in control of this game.
Yeah, I think the key of this match is going to be how are you going to deal with each respective bubble here. You have a bubble on either side, you have a pencil and the tri-strikes for Assault and Pepper to really deal with it. But if you take a look at conversely, not really much can be dealt with if you're on the side of Triggerfish Zone to really counter the bubble, because you really only have the Explosion maybe, but these shorter range weapons really get countered by it because you have to get up so close and have to respect that space.
Yeah, and so far Triggerfish Zones are trying to add on to their lead. Chino's gonna get hunted down, is gonna go down, and Pepe popping the Zuka, getting a nice double kill onto Soren there. Jeff left by himself, gonna go down. Chino trying to play some defense, force to jump out almost immediately. Vapor with no one in eyesight will be able to cruise all the way to 10 points. Soren's gonna go down again, and they're gonna get to 1. Smork hops on, and that will be game. The Triggerfish Zones got the snowball going, and they just kept on rolling it until Salt and Pepper couldn't deal with it any further.
Yeah, you mentioned that this map wouldn't really play to Triggerfish Zone Supremacy, and I believe that, but looks like they didn't believe it at all, because that seemed like a much more one-sided affair for Triggerfish Zones, as they were able to, like you mentioned, snowball off of these really well-placed specials here, off to an early lead already with their bubbles, and it didn't really matter that they were at the disadvantage in terms of range per se, because they were just able to attack really fast, quickly, and really to their nature and pace of play. They were able to operate how they liked, and I think that's why they are in the lead 2-0 now, because Triggerfish Zones have really set the pace of how they want to play. Meanwhile, Assault and Pepper haven't really able to operate how they please, but things can very much change here on Undertow Spillway.
Now, it is Undertow Spillway, but it's Rainmaker.
Mm-hmm.
It is Rainmaker, and with how fast Triggerfish Zone Supremacy has been playing, I would not be surprised if we see the Rainmaker checkpoint go down in the first 30 seconds, because Triggerfish Zone is playing with such bravado, such confidence, that's just like, if you're Salt and Pepper, you have to try to slow them down any way you can, and so far, especially through that second game, they've shown that if Triggerfish Zone Supremacy gets going, there's not a whole lot that can stop them.
Yeah, for sure. Something that I think that Assault and Pepper needs to really take advantage of is the fact that they have the cooler compared to Triggerfish Zones not running it. Really, that plays a huge factor in a mode such as Rainmaker, where much especially manpower is so important in dealing with really either side pushing. We see a switch up here though, switching to the Nautilus, which is a very interesting choice indeed for I believe that's no, that's Assault and Pepper actually running that, which is very interesting. And now we have either side having a weapon with Splashdown here. I feel like they just run that kind of like a surprise factor. It surprised me for sure.
I mean, yeah, it's gonna be surprising, but Vapor is just gonna take it. Smorg already has it painted up, and I called it. First 30 seconds, the Rainmaker checkpoint is already gone, and the Salt and Pepper is reeling from it. Vapor is gonna get all the way down to 42. Krakenmare is the last one left, and he's gonna be able to at least keep it going. It's just a lot of pandemonium so far, and Assault and Pepper finally has a chance to catch their breaths and just deal with what's been happening, as it's been less than a minute. The checkpoint is gone. They're down to 42, and now you're on your back foot because you have to win the next 3, or you have to win this game plus 2 more to even think about moving on.
Yeah, but you need to take things one step at a time, and steps is what this Rainmaker needs to take, as with 20 points left, they will elect to reset it back to mid, which I think is the great choice here. You don't want the Rainmaker reset so far back in your side of the map, but now, with the amount of space that Assault and Pepper are just giving up, Triggerfish Zone Supremacy could use this opportunity to come back in, but it could be used as a trap here. Look at the amount of specials being placed directly on the Rainmaker. They're trying to bait them in, just trying to find an opportunity for them. The Nautilus will manage to find a pick onto the Rainmaker, will get taken down themselves. The Rainmaker is dangerously far into Assault and Pepper's side of the map, but this side of the map is so hard to push through, as we see here. It's such a strong defensive chokehold.
I mean, yeah, and Salt and Pepper is proving why. They have the bubble set up, they have the bucket there, they have the pencil just playing some laser tag. They're just making sure that Triggerfish Zone Supremacy cannot get anything going. Krakenmare tries to go for flanks and get caught out almost immediately, but Salt and Pepper maybe has a chance to get at least some points on the board. Jeff here, and along with Soren trying to provide some space, it's not gonna work, or it's gonna work. The cooler is at the ready. This is their first push of the game. Let's see if they can get how far they can get.
Yeah, it's something that they need to develop. Well, no further will they go. They will go 2 players down on that push, because just the defense that Triggerfish Zones showed there, their aggressiveness to rally to that Rainmaker and take it over in a flash. They only have around a little bit less than half of the match to play here, but so far it has been all Triggerfish Zones so far, as they have been able to really operate how they wish. This Nautilus has been proven effective, though, at least installing the pushes out, like right there, being able to shut down that Ink Brush in Krakenmare, which has been a thorn in the side of Assault and Pepper this entire set here, but potentially going for the checkpoint here right now. They elect to go for the right side. The Splashdown will confirm that checkpoint, and just like that, Assault and Pepper are back into the swing of things. It looked like they're just trying to go for more.
I mean, but if you elect to go this left side, there's one big problem you gotta deal with. His name is Vapor, and he has an X-Blow, because you saw it right there. The second they picked it up, their feet were painted. There was not a whole lot they can move. So if you're Assault and Pepper, you would try to go that left side to try to at least try to stall him out, try to go have a slow and steady push. But so far, Salt and Pepper, they're trying to keep up this pressure. They got Triggerfish Zones on their back foot, but there it is again. Vapor with the Explode, just playing some solid defense. When the Explode does, just painting the feet. Chino's the last one, and that'll be a delayed wipe for Salt and Pepper with only 50 seconds remaining.
You have to respect the Explosher. It basically plays like a charger or like a bow. It basically is just there to basically deny any presence, saying, hey, you can't come here, you can't push, you have to go a different route, and you have to respect me. 30 seconds left. Assault and Pepper do have 2 specials to their name to potentially open this up, the Bubble and the Tri-Strikes, but conversely, on the other side, Triggerfish Zones have specials of their own to counteract, specifically the Zuka, which is being popped here, won't find the value. 15 seconds left are on this. 2 players are down for Assault and Pepper. All Triggerfish Zones need to do is to make sure that this Rainmaker doesn't fall into the hands of any member of Assault and Pepper, just like that, but will there be any counteraction to this? If there will be, they will be extended, but no, just like that, game number 3 will go to Assault and Pepper, and just like that, or not Assault and Pepper, sorry, Triggerfish Zones, and just like that, we are gonna see a rematch in the grand finals here, Topic.
I mean, shout out to Assault and Pepper. They really tried their best. I can confidently say that they gave it their all. Just unfortunately, they got punched a little bit too early. They got the win knocked out of them super early because this, like I was saying on the replay, it was 30 seconds. They got the checkpoint. They got it down to 42. And they just kept it there. And Assault and Pepper couldn't quite get that far because anytime they tried, guess what? There was an Explo. Guess what? There was a brush. Guess what? There were bombs. And guess what? The Rainmaker's down. So they were just kind of trapped like they were right here.
Yeah, not giving them any room to really operate. Just the oppressiveness, like you were talking about, Triggerfish Zones were able to use all of their weapons to their fullest to create so much space. That really led them to that 3-0 sweep, but now we are looking at a rematch of the winners bracket finals, Distortion versus Triggerfish. We saw how close this set was despite the 3-0 sweep from Distortion. Every match was determined pretty much by a mere couple of points or seconds depending on type of mode, but we could be in for a little bit of revenge here.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you're Triggerfish Zone Supremacy, you're like, hey, we can beat them. It literally came down to the last, like, 10 seconds in 2 of those games. I think one of the games, I think it was game 2, was more decisive, but in 2 of those games, it came down to the absolute last second. So if you're Triggerfish Zone Supremacy, you're just like, hey, we got this. We're coming in nice and warmed up. We're coming in hot. We coming in with the momentum. So I would hope that if you're Triggerfish Zones, you're like, hey, we got a chip on your shoulder. Let's get this going.
Yeah, these teams know each other for sure. Distortion has been sitting through this, watching Triggerfish Zone really sit there themselves and punch their ticket back to face them, and this is going to be quite the grand finals for sure. Reminder, this is our number 1 and number 2 seeds respectively going up against each other. We are in a 5-game series here. Distortion really only have to win this set and they will be crowned your champions. Triggerfish Zones need to first force the bracket reset before they can even think about going for the equalizing factor. But taking a look at our first map, it will be Splat Zone's Mako Mart, which is a very interesting choice to start things off with.
Okay. I've said this before. I will say it again. I am not a big fan of Mako Mart. Personally. I understand why. It's a pretty good map, but for me personally, I just don't like it. Now, if you're talking about zones on this map, I do think it does work a lot because there's varied ways to go into the map. You have a lot of flanking routes you gotta watch out for. So I think this map is pretty good for the comp scene.
Yeah, for sure. You talk about those very close quarter angles, but it's that mix that you have on Mako Mart that makes it so interesting. You have the different levels of elevation, you have the different ranges that you have to play around with that make it so unique, that make it really effective for a lot of weapons to succeed on it, where many other maps really only one weapon of each class per se, or a limited amount of weapons are really viable. But for Mako Mart, you can really operate with a lot of things and have it work really well. But honestly, the way I think of things, I don't think that these teams really switch from what we saw in the initial set that we saw in winners bracket finals.
I mean, Why would you? They got here for a reason. They both played super aggressive comps. They both won their sets pretty pretty dominantly with some sweeps. So it's like if you're either team, they've played before, so they know they have a pretty good idea what each other's gonna go. So I see very little reason to switch anything.
Yeah, 100%. These teams know each other well, like I mentioned earlier, and these teams will know their tendencies, how they like to play, maybe picking out some key players on the other side to really focus on. But as we take a look at this series at a glance and all the maps that could be potentially played, any map besides Macomart that really sticks out to you here?
Well, I'm a fan of Humpback. You know, I like buckets, so I think that could be
Coliseum.
yeah, that could be pretty fun. Inkblot Tower. It's Inkblock Tower, to say the least. It's pretty alright. Zone's Crab Leg, we've seen before. Scorched Clams. It's pretty. I like this map pool, but I think me personally, if I had to pick my favorite out of these 5, it'd probably be Humpback. Humpback Rainmaker.
Yeah, no bias there at all, but
No bias,
actually
yeah.
something interesting that I'd love to see is that aforementioned Inkblot Art Academy, because we normally don't see it on Tower Control, and not only that, it is our Game 5, so potentially, if it reaches to that point, then it is going to be a very fun and action-packed match. But yeah, like you said before, really the only two, besides that, the only two map modes that we haven't seen here, at least today, are Macomart Zone and Humpback Pumptrack Rainmaker, which I think favor the type of fighting style that we saw and the aggressiveness that we saw in the final set previously. Remember that Clam Blitz match that we saw on Inkblot Art that went back and forward, back and forward. There is the map right there, Humpback Pumptrack Rainmaker, and there is a map right there, Macomart Zones, that could produce a similar effect.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because Macomart, Humpback, some areas of Inkblot, they're very condensed. They're very close. There's very close quarters. So, like we saw in that first set, I would not be surprised if there's just a bunch of fights going back and forth, and I also wouldn't be surprised if these games came down to the wire, like we saw in the winners final set. But these games came down, like we've been talking about, to the last like 10 seconds. So with how fight heavy these teams seem to be and how close quarters these maps tend to skew, I expect a lot of fights. I expect a lot of fights. That's it.
Yeah, for sure. And I wouldn't be surprised either if, since this is the last set or 2 sets, if Triggerfish Zones could force a bracket reset, I'm wondering if maybe there is a little bit of a chance that we will see some surprise picks. Maybe when one team wants to really try out a unique, really comp that we haven't seen them run yet, but this is really just throwing in speculation. But if there is a time to really dig into your pocket of tricks and to really surprise the other team and really bring out a comp and add another dimension of really another chess move per se and mind game into this set, now would be the time to do so. And I'm just really waiting for chaos, honestly. I want to see these very aggressive players and these very mechanically skilled players go at it in just really PvP in the Splatoon 3 way, just very fast, very aggressive, very fast paced. And yeah, I'm just hyped, man.
I mean, I could clearly hear it. But yeah, if you want to speculate, I think Distortion, since they do have that one set buffer, I could see them experimenting here and there. Now, with what? I have no idea. So, will it be a surprise to both of us? So, but if you're Triggerfish Zones, you don't really want to experiment. You have a formula, it's proven to work, it's gotten you this far, so why not stick with it? Now, the mind game aspect could work, but if you're Distortion as well, You could switch possibly one, maybe two weapons depending on the situation, but you don't really want to steer away from the core that that works for you. You want to kind of have the same skeleton of your aggressive comp and your aggressive playstyle.
Yeah, I think the maps you can really do that on are maps 2 and 4 if necessary, where you might come off of a win and you might want to keep the ball rolling with a surprise, or you're coming off of a loss and you really want to just bring out a new element to the battle. But anyways, enough of speculating about what can or cannot happen. This is it. This is grand finals of Prison Break number 8. We are jumping straight into things between Distortion and Triggerfish Zone Supremacy, and we see a triple Dualies plus E-Leader. We were talking about an element of surprise, and there it is right there. Would you look at that topic?
You know, I see triple dualies, I see double dabble dualies, I see Reef Slider, I see beacons, I will run at you and you will have to deal with it. I will run through 6 sheets of drywall and you will have to deal with it. And so far, Distortion is playing up to that standard, just running in, getting kills. Yes, it didn't work in the first 10 seconds, but look at that. They have given Dawn so much space to work with, and they're still going. You got Cleffa and ISO in the base, the reside just to take space. Smork is forced to jump out, and they are... You know what? This is Splatoon 3. Just go out there, be aggressive, and think later.
This is aggressiveness at its finest. Distortion really just really operating the map however they please. However, Triggerfish Zones will at least briefly manage to contest the zone ever so slightly here, really trying to develop a foothold in it. They will at least stop the bleeding and the endless Sonic rolls that are the 3 dualies here, but really just showing the ace in their pocket. This seems to be Distortion's death lineup, if you will call it that.
I mean, I don't know if I would call it a death lineup. I would call it a, hey, deal with it. I am going to run full sprint at you, deal with it. And so far, Triggerfish Zone is dealing with it, getting a couple of picks. That's another 2 down. Pepe looking for the triple kill is gonna go down. Smork is the last one, but they able to stall out long enough for Triggerfish Zones to take the lead. But Distortion, you gotta be worried if you're Triggerfish Zones, because they're gonna come at you with full speed, because they have a Roost Hider at the ready, and not anymore.
Yeah, we were talking about how fast Distortion were able to take that lead in a very aggressive one, but look at the rally from Triggerfish Zones, countering that crab beautifully there and managing to find another fish. Krakenmare is just being a very annoying presence and being such a very, very effective player on that brush to counteract the members of Distortion and those annoying dualies that they like to operate with. But already, we're seeing how well Triggerfish Zones are able to at least stop the bleeding and are able to counter this very, very aggressive offense with some really great counter offense of their own here. But Distortion are nearing the end of their penalty points, so this could continue you can really just continue the waterfall of scoring here if you're not careful.
I mean, yup, there it is. The dam has broken. The scoring has begun. Burn there, unfortunately, not going to be able to get a pick on Pepe, as the Zuka's going to get the pick. And Distortion trying to hold on. Triggerfish Zones are rallying around the zone. Vapor with the splash zone is going to take the zone. Going to get sniped out of the air, but not before the splash zone is taken. But still, Triggerfish Zone's gonna go 3 down almost immediately. So Distortion can just get their troops back, get their numbers up, and take control of zone. Even though, yes, they have a penalty, they're running forward. And so far, it has proven to work super well.
Yeah, and already down to the 12-point mark with penalty points marking down. Triggerfish Zones really need to rally here, and the rally they will, taking down all the dualies, just the E-Leader left. And now, Triggerfish Zones really need to develop a strong hold there if they want to stay in it. They have the tools available, they have the Zuka, they have that Explosher Splashdown, and they have the bubble for the defense, which will be popped right there. Quickly taken down, though. The Splashdown goes down as well to try to hold on to this point. However, the crab is popped for the member of Distortion, will find a pick in its wake, and just like that, with a minute left, Distortion will take the point here late, and now you're looking at another dangerous situation if you're Triggerfish Zone.
I mean, yeah, what else can you really say? They're just everywhere. They're like ants. They get almost they're everywhere and everywhere, anywhere and everywhere, all at once. And Distortion has about 15 ticks left before the game is over. Triggerfish Zones are going to be able to neutralize. Never mind, they're going to flip the zone, but not for long. It's just Distortion is just playing so aggressive. It's that they're, like I said, they're just everywhere all at once. They're not, even though yes they are going down, it's not affecting them as much as it really should be. So with about 15 seconds left, Triggerfish Zones has to think of something.
Yeah, and they have 2 specials to potentially take this here late. However, yeah, there's the opportunity right there. 3 players going down for Distortion. All their dualies will go down. So now they have to hold the point for about 40 ticks here in overtime. All it takes, though, is Distortion to really paint over the zone with the crab, and just like that, Distortion will end Triggerfish Zone's comeback attempt at the end there in overtime. Distortion going up 1-0 in this grand final set.
You know, I'm assuming you play a lot of solo queue, right?
Yeah.
That is the solo queue comp of all time. And you know what? It worked out because they just they played it so aggressive and so coordinated. Yeah, they played it so well. They played so well with their teammates that they made it look kind of effortless. As look, they got in within the first 30 seconds. Yes, they did have to take zone second, but they got in and they just kept the pressure up. They didn't let Triggerfish Zones hold zone for more than about like 15, 20, maybe 30 ticks before they just they just ripped it out of their hands.
Yeah, I think of that comp as basically just 3 hamsters and balls just going around, just causing so much chaos. And then you have the E-leader to really be that anchor of, hey, that dualie's gonna chase you away, but they're gonna chase you into my sideline, and you have to respect not only these dualies rushing you down, but also the long-range presence that I have, and really showed off rip there, because Distortion really just basically won that game in the first 30 seconds, being able to build that monumentous lead that they were able to hold for a really long time. But now switching things over to Scourge Gorge, I am already shocked at the fact that we already see a wild card of a really comp being shown already. I don't even know what to expect anymore now from Distortion, except the same way they've been playing.
I mean, listen, I wouldn't be opposed to the triple duelie again. However, this is Scorch Gorge, so you're gonna have a little bit of problem trying to push up. So they might go to a more traditional comp, but hey, I'm here for the chaos. Just throw everything at the wall and something will stick eventually.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same as you, Topic. I'm thinking they go back to their regular comp here on Scorch Gorge, but if they were to pull out that triple dualies comp again on Humpback Pump Track in Game 3, I wouldn't be surprised at all. But now we are looking at Game number 2. Let's see if they will stick with it. They will stick with it, but they're going with a Splatling instead of the E-Leader. That is the ballpoint Splatling on the side of Distortion, and oh my goodness, they are just full of surprises here in this grand final set. Triggerfish Zones were able to at least stall out the deadly triple dualies lineup, at least for a little bit, but now they have a tough hill to climb here, being down 1-0 already in this set.
I mean, ballpoint just gives you a lot more aggression to work with. As we, I don't know if you saw it, but we just heard a reslider in the base of Triggerfish Zones, and Distortion's gonna score super quickly, get 2 powers, and with a couple more clamps in reserve, ISO's gonna score, get down to 54, and just like game number 1, Distortion is just throwing everything in the kitchen sink at Triggerfish Zones, and they are Triggerfish Zones are trying to respond the best way they can, and so far it is working, but they're putting a band-aid on a bullet hole right now.
Yeah, Distortion's plan really seems to be taking an early lead, and basically the rest of the match basically kind of just played keep away here. But with 3 players down for Distortion, this could open a great opportunity for Triggerfish Zones to really rally here. And with 2 more players going down, it will be basically a delayed wipe for Distortion, more players falling in, and it's just the edit left for Distortion. And now map control will surely be had by Triggerfish Zones. They will have the junior here for the push. This will be the key for them to really develop a push, really set up these close quarters engagements that you will be favored in because of the space, because of Krakenmare on that rush there. And there is the push right there, Smork popping that bubble and letting the floodgates open for Triggerfish Zones.
Yeah, so far they're gonna score a couple of clams, 65. Vapor has a couple in reserve, down to 6 or 59 now. Krakenmare going back, using the burst of speed, the splashdown for coverage. It's gonna work. Triggerfish Zones is gonna take the lead, but Distortion responds super quickly. Burn with a double kill, 3 down for Triggerfish Zones, and now Distortion, they're back. They got a cooler. They popped the jet. They're already pushing up. That's 1 down. So Distortion, wasting 0 time whatsoever, is just gonna score again.
Yeah, once that cooler pops, all bets are off. It is all in. You know what is going to happen. But it's a very effective defense here from Triggerfish Zones to still maintain the lead. They had coolers to their backs, but despite that, Triggerfish Zones finally get a really good defense and counter to what Distortion are running, and it seems like they're really starting to learn how to counter this thing. We see the crab being popped from Distortion to prevent a jump, but the jumps are coming in from behind, and just like that, Triggerfish Zones just get a very sneaky double jump there, down to 14 points. Pepe has the clams available for the potential knockout here. Maybe 1 more needed. Yes, there will be 1 more clam needed if Triggerfish Zones wants to take this, and Krakenmare has it, and just like that, Triggerfish Zones even things up 1-1, and it looks like they have that triple dualies set up just completely lined out.
Talk about adaptability from Triggerfish Zone supremacy after being frankly shocked in game number 1 with the triple dualies comp to being down super early in game number 2. They came back. They just played well in the second game, especially the second half of that second game. I believe it was Smork on the flank at the end really did help, and they just worked really well, basically. They kind of baited in some members of Distortion, got those double kills, got those triple kills, and made sure they couldn't really add on to their lead. And eventually, that led to them taking the game.
That was a really sneaky attack that Triggerfish Zones had, getting that 1 player in behind Distortion's backline. And it looks like Distortion had great control in mid there, but we saw the 2 players with the balls jumping over, and I was just amazed. Like, there was a player back there that was able to kick off that push and was able to even things up for Triggerfish Zones. And now we have a set here for sure, as we are moving to what you were hinting at earlier. This is the favorite map, Humpback Pump Track.
I mean, yeah, I love this map mode. And now, will Distortion stick with triple dualies? Probably not. You know, they had their fun. Okay, now they're down. Now they're tied 1-1. Like, okay, let's get some buffer. Then we can potentially go to something fun, right? But I would expect just a lot of fighting here. I think Triggerfish Zones, they say exactly what they were going. It works. No questions, no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Now, for Distortion, I do think they're gonna have a lot of like fast weapons that can like kind of take advantage of the changing elevations of the different of the just changing elevations of just the movement opportunities that this map allows for. So I expect a lot more fighting, probably not triple dualies, but something similar.
Yeah, let's see. No, they're still going with it. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, we got Distortion here. Yet again, this time though, another switch of the backline, having the charger. They are just sticking with this lineup through thick and thin topic. I'm surprised, but at the same time, it's kind of to be expected on a very chaotic maps such as Haggle of Humpback Pump Track, I mean. And off rip already, though, Triggerfish Zones are already showing that they still have Distortion's number in terms of this lineup, but the Rainmaker very quickly being taken down.
I mean, yeah, just a lot of fighting. Distortion would be really quick wipeout, and now they have a choice to make: go left or right. They're opting to go with that right side route. Pepe is gonna fall, unfortunately. Kraken here and Smork trying to play some defenses. They're gonna be at least distracted, and that's gonna be a very quick checkpoint. Dawn here has the back at the race, so if they decide to pop it, they decide no, they don't decide to pop it. But if they do decide to pop it, that'll be very interesting to see how well or how fast can they move. And Distortion keeping this up. Another 2 down. Cracking with the flanks gonna go down. Is gonna get the back though. Burn's gonna go down. Vapor staying alive, keeping the Rainmaker backed up. Pepe going for the pick. It's gonna work, and Distortion will be held off from getting any more points.
That was a much needed stop there from Triggerfish Zones to at least slow the push a little bit, to at least really put some momentum back in their favor. But we see a quick double there from the Vanilla Dualies. Kraken there will get the trade on that and just continue to cause. We'll get another pick as well. The brush is so powerful on a map such as Humpback Pump Track where it can pop up out of anywhere, but they are quickly shut down as well. Kills going left, right, and center here. The Rainmaker is still on the checkpoint side of, on Triggerfish Zone's checkpoint there, still yet to be picked up, and it looks like it will be reset back to mid.
Yeah, but mid is pretty Distortion favored right now, but Triggerfish Zones are gonna try to eat away at that. The crab's gonna get shut down. Azuka's gonna be popped. The Rainmaker's gonna get picked up. It's gonna go down, unfortunately. Distortion is just running face first, and so far it's working, but it's gonna backfire against them as Triggerfish Zones is gonna be able to take the checkpoint, though the vac is not gonna be enough, as that's gonna be a lead for Triggerfish Zones.
That was much needed now. You have the ability now to play keep away, but with still a little bit less than half the match, that is something that is much easier said than done against this very aggressive comp. We see Dawn here has the vac to really open things up, but no, that vac will be denied, and just like that, members of Distortion fall left, right, and center. Triggerfish Zones come back with such a aggression, and now they have the opportunity to extend their lead, but a great shot there from Dawn will stop them straight in their tracks. It is going back and forth between who has the advantage here, but now Distortion has the ability to turn things for them, as now they have specials available for this push.
Yeah, 3 specials. There they go. That's a 2 down. Looks like Burn with nothing but green grass, and they get down to 36. Smork is in the bubble trying to save it. It's not gonna work. Burn gets a little bit further, down to 6. Basically a game-winning push. Kraken's gonna drop. They're gonna get shut down by Cleffa in a very tumultuous spot for Triggerfish Zones, as Distortion's gonna keep on going though. Wipeout. Distortion is not slowing down. They're showing the reason why they're the #1 seed.
Yeah, we saw their great special usage, getting 2 with the Reef Slider and getting 1 with the Vac. Their special usage has been on point. Burden is just trying to go in, but they will get shut down on that. Over a minute left here. Triggerfish Zones will get the counter wipeout in that instance, but now they have quite a hill to climb here. They basically have to go for the knockout blow here, but with 40 seconds left and having such very twitchy weapons, very unpredictable weapons going up against them on this, it is very hard to deal with.
I mean, yeah, they have to make sure they get at least 3 down to get something going. That's a good start. 1 down, 1 for 1 though. ISO trying to get in the Rainmaker's face, not gonna work. The Vac's gonna be popped. That's 1 down, 2 down. Looks like Burns trying to go for the 3, gonna go down, and that is a wipeout. Absolute disaster for Triggerfish Zones, and now Distortion can just kind of hang out in base, have a little party, and just do whatever, as they are going to win game #3, and they're gonna put Triggerfish Zone supremacy backs against the wall, as now they need to win both games to force a bracket reset.
that Reef Slider and Vac combo is so deadly, and it was especially evident there on a map such as Humpback. We saw the Vac being used aggressively on that push that led Distortion all the way down to 6-point mark. We saw the double kill from the Reef Slider, but Keely on that defense as well. That Vac was used just to deny so much space and basically hold Triggerfish Zone's push dead in his tracks and allow the other members of Distortion to take them down one by one. And now moving on to game number 4. Alright, we're probably going to expect that they're surely not going to run it again, right? We're probably going to see something different, but I wouldn't be surprised if they ran it again, but with a different long-range weapon. Take your bets on what that long-range weapon will be. You think it'd be an E-Leader?
It might be an E-Leader, because E-Leader is very good on this map. But, I mean, I could see the... I don't want to make any bets against Distortion going triple dualies, because they've done triple dualies the last 3 games. So it's like, the Dapples aren't that good on Crab Lake, but the Crab from the V dualies is pretty good, but it's hard. Okay, it's hard to bet against the triple dualies, right? Because they won it game 1, they won it game 2, they won it game 3, but now here we go, potential turning point for Prism Break 8, Distortion, Triggerfish Zone Supremacy. There, you know what? Okay, you know what? I'm done. They switch. Okay, alright.
At least it's different dualies here. You have the Squelchers instead of the Crab dualies, and like I guess there is the E-Leader, so we are here again for triple dualies. Let's go. This is the new meta. Let's see it. Really good shots there from Don, though, managing to find 2 picks off of that, and already Distortion, very signature and very much what we've seen so far, taking an early lead here.
I mean, yeah, getting it down to 85
Oh
the collateral. That's a good way to open a quick 3 down again for Triggerfish Zone's Vapor, forced to pop a very defensive splashdown. Burns gonna go in, gonna get 1. Cleffa is on the enemy plat, gonna get 1, gonna get 2. Only Smork is left, and Distortion was quickly getting it down to 40 with no signs of looking back.
Yeah, Triggerfish Zones really need to rally if they want to stay in this. 25 points left, but they are not giving them any space to operate. Distortion will lose all of their dualies. It is just left to Dawn to fight, but just like that, Distortion will get delayed wipes. Triggerfish Zone's Supremacy will stay alive and stay fighting, but just by a hair. They have a tough hill to climb here, but really they just need to start by getting it to a more manageable point here. They don't have penalties, which is very key here, but they have quite the amount of time they need to hold.
I mean, yeah, and that time is slowly ticking down. Nice kill there by Vapor, and Triggerfish Zones is trying to go up this top right side, but so far Distortion is holding on to that. Kraken is gonna go up there, gonna get 1, but nice combo there by Vapor, getting another one down. And so far Triggerfish Zones, despite the huge mountain they had to climb, are surely climbing that mountain. Nice snipe there by Dawn. That's gonna be a little bit of a shock to Distortion. The Reef Side is gonna go in, gonna go down. Triggerfish Zones is gonna take lead with about 10 ticks left. ISO trying to paint, it's not gonna be enough. The splashdown's gonna do it at 1 point to go. A lot of fighting going on in mid, but so far Distortion are gonna take it, but with a huge gigantic penalty for Triggerfish Zones, and now Distortion has the opportunity to hold on for the game. They've done it once, they by God can do it again.
I don't want to bring up past matches, but this is a similar situation to what's happened on, I believe, Barnacle and Dime, where Triggerfish Zones made it down to the 1 point mark, but they weren't able to come away with the victory. Will this be repeated here? We will have to wait and see as the tournament depends on it. Distortion are able to retake the zone here. They are almost out of their penalty here, so now it is do or die time for the members of Triggerfish Zone Supremacy. They don't have specials to their name. They will have one now coming from Kraken with that killer whale. 11 onto the points of Distortion. The members of Triggerfish Zones are just throwing themselves at the point. They will be able to force penalties onto Distortion to remain alive in this, to fight for another day, but that was looking very, very close there.
I mean, it's still looking close. Just complete pandemonium into zone. Triggerfish Zone is gonna take control for the moment, taking a couple of good fights. Burns gonna get one. Iso's gonna go for a trade. And so far, Distortion, they are not letting up. They're keeping this aggressive up. Burn trying to use the reside invincibility to take lives. It's not gonna work out for them. But so far, Distortion is doing everything they can to hold on. Smork with the flank, unable to get it, gets double teamed there with less than a minute to go. Honestly, this is anyone's game.
Yeah, but Triggerfish Zones needs to hop onto this point yet again. They need to stop the bleeding, and they need to do it fast. The splashdown will help with that. The Zuka will as well, but the Reef Slider from will help take that zone. 2 players are down. This will probably be the killing blow for Triggerfish, and just like that, Distortion will close things out 3-1. They will take Prism Break number 8 with the triple dually lineup.
Call it deja vu, because the first game that we commentated, the exact same thing happened. Triggerfish Zones got it down to 1. Distortion came back and held on and won the game. And just like someone just replayed the script or just replayed the video, nice collat there, by the way, getting Distortion really far up. But just like that, Distortion brings back a classic, giving us a little bit of a heart attack, letting Triggerfish Zones get down all the way to 1, but taking it back at the last second. And you know what? With the triple dually comp, I didn't think it would work, but it worked very well.
It worked very efficiently. It won them Prism Break number 8, but a little side to that. Not only was the play of all the dualies really what won them all those players, but Dawn, we saw time and time again, being that adaptable anchor, being able to switch from Charger to Splatling, and they were able to get some really nice picks there, especially on this map. I feel like we noticed it especially more on this, and they were really the anchor in what that triple dualies lineup needed to succeed. So GG's to Distortion, you are our victors. Triggerfish Zone Supremacy, they fought hard. They were able to get a map this time in this series, but it was not yet to be, as all these matches were still very close. Topic.
I mean, I think Distortion showed their real comp in the grand finals. I think the comp we saw at the beginning was like kind of a smoke screen, because you don't pull that out at grand finals and not have an idea of what you're going to do. That was tested. That was, hey, we're playing this and no one's stopping us. That was just good. That was just good.
Yeah, I can feel my heart about to pump out of my chest. That was riveting. That was exciting. That was hype. That was Splatoon 3. And yeah, that was quite the tournament for sure. Congratulations to all members of Distortion. Thank you for everybody who participated. Thank you, viewers, for watching. But we have a little bit of housekeeping to do. As always, Topic, take it away. You know what to do. Where can we find you?
Hey, you can find me over on Twitter, Topical2. You can see where I'm commentating next, if I'm commentating next, or you can hear my really good takes about the Persona series. Rocket, what about you?
Yeah, definitely go take a look at that Persona rant before this set. But yeah, moving on from that, you can find me at rocket_splat, see at the screen right there. You can find me on Twitter and Twitch with that. You can also find me on Discord in a variety of servers. But yeah, besides that, thank you all for watching. Thank you for our wonderful streamer, Joyon, in the background for bringing us a wonderful viewing experience. Thank you all for watching. Have a good night, y'all. And Topic, anything else you'd like to say?
Well, before we go, I'd just like to say Distortion was really disturbing the peace, huh?
Disturb.